Clark, we will try. Morning, Spitz, EB, Albar, Paul. Morning, everybody. AJC, what an amazing story. Spitz, how about a better record than the Braves?
Braves.
Johnny wants to know how much weight have you lost? You look great.
A lot. 30 to 33 pounds. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And hello again, everybody. Look at Johnny going, brother. You're going to go A instead of ER, Johnny? Brother?
Hulkster. Love it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this first Monday of August. The magic numbers. There was a petition late last week to count week 0. So if we're counting week 0, the numbers are 19, 24, and 31. 19 days away from K-State and Iowa State over in Dublin. 24 days away from the Thursday heading into Labor Day weekend with 16 games on the docket. And it's 31 nights away from the Eagles hosting the Cowboys. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
Good morning, David. I am doing well, refreshed after a weekend. Not a whole lot going on. Pretty lazy weekend. Did a little of this, a little of that, but not a whole. I mean, it's this just in. It's hot.
Listen, when people in the Southeast, when they start talking about the weather and it's not a hurricane, that should concern you. But when people in Florida start stopping other people from Florida and going, damn, it's hot, isn't it? Huh. I guess it's hot. Yep. Lady at the elevator yesterday said to me, "So, are you ready for winter?" I said, "Didn't we move here for this?" She goes, "Not this." All right. And then, said to me, "My hair is a lot frizzier than it normally is." I go, "Is that how you measure the heat? With the hair?" She
The
goes, "A
frizz
little bit."
factor, David.
Yep.
The frizz factor.
And she goes, "Yeah, a little bit." I said, "Well, you look," she just got back from church. I said, "Well, you look great, ma'am." She said, "Oh, thank you. It's still hot." I go, "Okay. All right."
All over, everywhere.
Yep.
Obviously, I know the folks in the north are dealing with it, but I went Friday to meet a couple of the guys I play golf with, because since I screwed my back up, I can't play golf right now. So I went and had a couple of beers with the boys, and they're like, "You ain't missing anything. You ain't missing anything."
They give you the impression they've been sitting indoors drinking the whole time?
They said that would have been a better choice, but
Uh,
neither here nor there. I think I'd rather would have been sweating out there with them, but we'll get there eventually.
did this feel like a slower sports weekend than what we've had even during the past 6+ weeks of quote unquote summer?
A little bit. And part of the reason why, to me, and I watched most of it yesterday, but I was genuinely fired up for the game, the baseball game, the Braves-Reds game at Bristol. And when it was postponed until Sunday, that took away a little bit of my Saturday night viewing. I thought it would have been a better scene at night than it was on Sunday during the day. And by the time the game came on Sunday, I had read so many horrible things about what happened Saturday in Bristol that I didn't have nearly as much interest in the game as I would have on Saturday night, because by all accounts, that thing was a fiasco.
Well, do explain in what way, because I
Well,
did not hear much of this.
They compared it, was it the Fire Fest that they had, that big concert on the island where people got stranded and there was no food and no restrooms, and it turned into a horrible experience for everybody that was there, and there was no concert. Well, that's what the baseball game was by all accounts Saturday night. There were incredibly long lines. There was no real services available. They ran out of concessions before the first inning. How on God's green earth, Bristol, that has 2 races a year and is perfectly capable of handling 90,000 people? Now, I don't know if Major League Baseball stepped in and ran concessions as well, but there are many accounts, many a story out there of the only things that they had for food, if they did have food, was hot dogs without buns and nachos without cheese. And they didn't discount anybody for that. It was still full price for half the food. And it was so bad that on Sunday, they allowed people to bring in their own food and drink in the game because the concessions were so horrible on Saturday night. The Fan Fest area was apparently just a wreck. The services were not available for people, and people spent a lot of money to go to that game. And by all accounts, were very disappointed in what happened. And a lot of them left after Saturday night and didn't stay for the game on Sunday.
Well, that was noticeable. That was noticeable because, they sold 91,000 tickets. And there were large sections of seating that were unattended, that were attended Saturday night. So that was obvious. And I was a little surprised with that, thinking, well, if you went to the Saturday night game, you probably got a hotel, right? I mean, you were probably planning on staying over. Maybe not. Maybe you lived a couple hours away and you were just going to wing it, get home at 1, 2 in the morning and what have you. But all right. But they listed 91,032, Mark, for the attendance. Speaking of attendance, late in Friday's show, I said to you, Mark, over under attendance for the 3-game Marlins-Yankees series, and I'll list it at 70,000.
And I went over.
And you did, but you did the math, and you're like, oh, that's like 23.3 a night, but it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's the Yankees, and you go, I'll go over. But you didn't mock me. You didn't laugh at me. You didn't go, oh, David, they're going to do over 100,000. Okay, you just said no, over. You're thinking, no, they'll do like 25,000 a night. I'll get to 75 or so thousand. Yeah. Okay, over 100,000 for the 3-game series in South Florida. Now, I'm sure 50, 60% of it was Yankee fans, but that's okay. Hell, that means 40, 50,000 Marlins fans showed up for the weekend.
And the hometown crowd went home happy every night because your Miami Marlins are allowed to be talked about on this show, not just because they're in Miami. They have reached the Mendoza line. They are 55-55 after sweeping the New York Yankees for the first time ever. Ever. And the Marlins are just 6 back of the wild card on the first Monday in August.
That's a lot, though. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Okay. Yes, it is. But you're right. It is.
But they were
absolutely
16 games below 500 approaching Father's Day. They were 16 games below 500. They're now 500.
To review, however, by our buddy Ryan Spader, posted this yesterday after the game, the Marlins 55-55. At the time, they were 5.5 back when he posted this, but the Padres won. So they are 6 back. They are trailing 2 teams that they have to leapfrog to the wild card. The Tigers a year ago, at the same point, were 53-59. They were 9 back in the wild card, trailing 5 teams. So is it a long stretch to think that the Marlins can do it? Of course it is, but it's not impossible. We saw it just a year ago.
Well, hell, if they throw another 30-14 stretch up on the board, all right, they'll be in playoff position with a week and a half left in the season. But, of course, the first week of August, the Marlins would have a better record than the Braves, than the Rays. Hell, the Royals made the playoffs last year. They have a better record than the Royals. Or actually, same record. I think the Royals won yesterday to get to 500. But the amount of money I would have lost, Mark, on a bet if somebody had said the Marlins will have a better record than the Braves in the first week of August. There's no limit on how much money I would have thrown on that bet.
And the odds you would have given others to place that bet. I mean, no, you would be broke. You would be taking second mortgages out. It would be a bad situation. It would be you, not me, saying text sponsor to 21,000 because we really need you on board. I get it.
In fact, forget the Fantasy Football Summit. Okay, forget sponsoring this show. You need to sponsor me.
Right. David would need a GoFundMe page to pay for his bets that he was going to lose.
Although I would have been too embarrassed. Okay, you can't do a GoFundMe because I made a bad bet. Okay.
Well, you can. I don't think anybody would give money to
it. Nor should they.
Exactly.
Nor should they. But unbelievable. The voice of the Marlins, Kye Sielaff, will join us in a little less than 2 hours. Okay. Man, that Friday night game was fun. I can still hear him and Tommy Hutton going crazy. 13-12 Marlins. Comeback after comeback after comeback.
What a crazy game that was.
That sure was.
Absolutely nuts. And that sweep, coupled with the Red Sox sweep of the Astros over the weekend, have the Yankees now just a half game ahead of the Mariners, and they're the 5 and 6. The Rangers are just 2 behind the Mariners. The Guardians have won some games. They're over 500. And we have a little bit of a race for the American League wild card all of a sudden.
All of a sudden, when I brought up last week that the Yankees may miss the playoffs, okay, that doesn't seem nearly as ridiculous as when I brought it up a week ago.
All those moves they make and the 3 relievers in that 13-12 game all just throw batting practice. Holy cow.
Brian Cashman sitting there going, all my good work right down the drain. Thanks, guys. Tanks for nothing.
As David said, Kye Sielaff will join us in the 8 o'clock hour. Ryan O'Halloran to talk some Buffalo Bills as well on Miller and Moulton. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Ream Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Any poll question ideas?
Do we have anything going on today?
I don't think so. I looked last night. I didn't think there was anything. Oh, it's National Chocolate Chip Cookie today. Crispy or soft?
Okay.
Oh, JDR Blue, I know Gulfstream's much nicer. I want to go to the dump. Diet and exercise, SEC. It's 6 months I've been at it. Actually, 8 months I've been at it. 7 months, somewhere in there. Better shot at making the playoffs. Marlins, Heat, Dolphins.
That's funny. Second best South Florida sports team after the Panthers, who's the best South Florida sports team,
Right.
pro sports team. Right.
Robes, it's a great question. The problem is at least 50% of our audience wouldn't know who that is. Maybe 30% because we have an older audience, but you get the drift.
Robes, I was a Bailey fan.
I was a Lonnie Anderson fan in the day. Looking back upon it, I was probably wrong. Really, Michael? You're sure about that? The Heat, no doubt, huh? Who's their best player? Bam Adebayo? Tyler Hero?
So that's Michael saying the Heat will definitely be 500 or above next year.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So during the break, you found out today is National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day.
It is. Yes.
Do we go, dark chocolate? I mean, how much variety is there in a chocolate chip cookie? I'd love to do a poll question.
I think there are two choices. Do you like a crispy chocolate chip cookie or do you like a soft chocolate chip cookie?
Oh, okay. All right. I like that.
That to me is the question.
That's the question, huh?
Well, from a chocolate chip cookie standpoint, that would be my question. Can't tell you the last time. See, and it's, if they're not, and it's because if they're not warm, when they come right out of the oven, give it to me. Crispy, so I don't care. A warm cookie? Oh my goodness. But once they've been sitting for a little bit, some of them are a little softer, and then some you got a little crunch to them. I happen to like the crunch. I like that bottom to be that undercarriage, as Portnoy would say about his pizzas. I like that undercarriage to be.
I like that undercarriage.
Crisp.
Okay. All right. I like that. Yeah, I'm a crispy guy. I like most food that has a crunch. Okay. Even if it's a small one, even if it's a subtle one. I like most food that has a crunch. So, all right. We can go with it. Soft or crispy. I like it. National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. I know just where to go after the show to get me some too. So that's good. That's good, man. I do eat a lot more because of the show. I feel
That's
as if
bull. No.
Well, okay,
You,
that's true.
you
Hold
are a
on.
liar, and
Well,
I'm
hold
calling
on.
you on it right now.
Hold on. I'll amend that. Okay, I stated it incorrectly. It's not that I eat more because of this show. It's that I eat specific things because of this show. Okay, that the poll questions lead me right out the door when the show's over to, well, we asked the question, today was National Hot Dog Day. Boom. Today was National whatever Pizza Day. Boom. So that is true. They lead me in a certain direction, but you are right. Okay, and I realized it also that I don't eat more because of the show. I just eat more specifically.
Well, I'm a day ahead of you for tomorrow. I'm not worried about you tomorrow with the food thing, because tomorrow, I happened to see it last week, and my daughter absolutely loves oysters. She's been eating oysters for a few years. She's the only preteen I know that can knock down a dozen oysters and think that they're just amazing. And tomorrow's National Oyster Day, and I am confident, David, that is not going to send you to a restaurant.
That's a good bet, Mark. That's a good bet. I don't have to do it every poll question. Names on the show, I can take one and go, I don't know about that one. Appreciate the effort, but I'll let Mark's daughter take my place tomorrow. So, all right, crispy or soft on National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. I like it. Miller and Moulton.
Yes.
I didn't get into Hall of Fame weekend in the NFL, and I love Halls of Fame. I don't know if it was the class. I mean, I don't want to disparage Jared Allen, Antonio Gates, Sterling Sharp, Eric Allen. I mean, for goodness sakes, Brent Musburger finally got in. Thank goodness. What an oversight that was. The significance of the NFL today in helping to make the NFL the number one sport in this country.
The only thing I'm even aware of, and I do not get into watching Hall of Fame speeches. They just, great accomplishment, obviously. It goes without saying, and I just said it. But I don't need to sit and watch speeches for 2 hours. That's not something that does it for me. If
Right.
there's a great part of it with social media now, I'll usually catch it. And Allen splitting his pants, doing his sack dance on the stage was the highlight of the weekend, apparently.
Mary Kay Cabot won a distinguished award and had a terrific Bill Belichick joke.
Oh, man. Did she ever? Giving her speech talking about how she broke into the league with Belichick and how he would call her if he didn't like the articles she wrote and yell at her. And it took her a while to stand up to him. And she finished it by saying, I was 28 years old at the time. And I finally realized that I was too old for Bill to relate to.
Boom.
That's solid.
It's an excellent joke.
It is.
That's outstanding. So the Sterling Sharp speech was poignant. Obviously, the closeness of his relationship to his brother Shannon. And when Shannon got into the hall a few years ago, he said, I'm the only one on stage who can honestly say that I am the second best athlete and football player in my family. And Shannon and Sterling were both in tears. And Sterling told the story about how when Shannon won his first Super Bowl, and of course, you don't know that you're going to win another. And as it turned out, Shannon would win 2 more. But when he won his first Super Bowl, Sterling had recently retired because of his neck injury, and that Shannon gave his Super Bowl ring to his brother, not knowing that he would get 2 more over the next 3 years, as a matter of fact. because he was on the 97-98 Broncos and the 2000 Ravens. And so Sterling said, so now I can finally repay the favor. And he called Shannon over and he took off his gold jacket. And he said, here you go. Here's my gold jacket. And, you know, I'm an only child. Mark's an only child. Okay. We have joked when there have been reasons to over the years that, you know, we don't fully get the whole sibling thing. You know, we just had to kill time ourselves. You know, we didn't have anybody that we had to share our sports equipment with or share our food with.
Nor our dinners, exactly.
Right. Okay. So, you know, that's why whenever it had anything to do with brothers or sisters, we would listen to you, the audience. We're like, well, we got nothing for this. Okay. We're like sponges. Educate us on it. But I thought that was poignant. But I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the sexiest of classes. I don't know what it was, but I wasn't as into it as I normally am.
I'm just stunned it was 4, right?
Yes, because they only
put 4 in. That's the part of this that to me is a bigger story moving forward.
Well, because also they didn't put in a coach. All these coaches that we think are lined up, and none of them got the votes. Shanahan didn't get the votes. Holmgren was the one that got forwarded and recommended, and he didn't get the votes. You know, those like me who keep advocating for the late Marty Schottenheimer and the late Dan Reeves, they don't have the votes. Coughlin yet to be nominated. I mean, there's a whole bunch of coaches here that we think are going in at some point. Now, Bill Belichick's going in next year.
There's no waiting period?
I thought that will be the waiting period.
Okay. Because I'd seen an article that talked about the upcoming classes and who's like the automatics, and it is something you look at. And David and I talked about this when they had the anniversary class and put 20 players in. Will they have to do that again? And they've said they're not going to, but it's something when you look at the log jam at receiver, the log jam, as you pointed out with some of the coaches, will there ever be another anniversary class in which they add more than the annual allotment of 5? Speaking of 5, the starting 5 is next.
Defining a new era in Men's Health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I have a. Oh, you don't have your headsets on. For a sports question, if we wanted to have one, I have an idea. You can only go to one football game week 1. Which one are you picking? Texas, Oklahoma State, or Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, Miami, Notre Dame. Yes, she was, Sonny. David and I were talking about before the show. When she didn't make birdie on the par 5, I knew she was in trouble. I was rooting for her, too.
Yeah, Sonny. She spotted her too many shots the first 2 days. I mean, she was 11 back heading to the weekend. That's So what are the choices again? Ohio State, Texas.
Ohio State,
Mhm.
Clemson, LSU, Miami, Notre Dame. Those are the 3. There's no other game on there that, to me, competes with those 3. And we don't have to put it up.
No, I like it.
And I've already turned down tickets for Miami, Notre Dame. Said no, not interested. Too hot. Not going to sit out in 3.5 hours in that heat. Doesn't even sound enjoyable to me. Rather watch it on my couch.
Is that Sunday night?
It is.
Yeah, I had to turn the volume off.
Of what?
The CBS, the golf,
I wasn't offered a sweet ticket, DC. I was offered a ticket. If I'm offered a sweet ticket, I will take it. That's a totally different ballgame. I don't know what it is you're trying to say there, Virtue, that I should put the Auburn game on that list. I don't even know who they're
I
playing.
think he's talking to someone else.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. on this first Monday of August. Ryan O'Halloran, 1 hour from now. We'll check in on Bills camp. Now they've got a high-profile sit-in. And Kye Sielaff, the television voice of the red-hot, second hottest team in baseball over the last 2 months, Miami Marlins, swept the Yankees. People are going to the games. They're so hot. Kye Sielaff to join us in a little more than an hour. Right now, it's time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
And we'll start with baseball and those Marlins who swept the Yankees 7-3 the final yesterday, 2-0 on Saturday, 13-12 on Friday. The Marlins are 30-14 since June 13th. Only the Milwaukee Brewers are hotter. Kyle Stowers with another 3-run homer. Over 100,000. 101,545, the most that have shown up for a 3-game series in the history of Lone Depot Ballpark. The Marlins are 6 back of the Padres for the final playoff spot in the National League. That's right, pennant fever in South Florida, baby.
It would be amazing if the 2 best teams in South Florida for the next little while were the Panthers and the Marlins.
Yes, it would.
I mean, because the Heat have clearly overtaken the Dolphins as the 305's favorite team. They really have. Not saying, the Dolphins, it's NFL, they're incredibly popular, and the minute they win, that changes. But you talk to people that are under the age of like 35 in Broward and Dade County, they're Heat fans first because they've never seen any success out of the Dolphins.
And this is way ahead of schedule. And for those of us, and remember, Skip Schumacher bailed on this. He's like, I don't want any part of this. You guys are tearing it down. Okay, I'm out of here. Remember they fired Kim Ang a couple years ago? We were like, what the heck? She just took you to the playoffs. It's working. It is working. Heck, they haven't even traded their pitching yet. Hey, you know who's hot? How about the Red Sox? They've won 5 in a row. They swept the Astros over the weekend. There was a very rich scene. I think it was Saturday night. The Astros pitcher thought that the Red Sox base runner was stealing.
Awesome.
Was figuring out what pitch he was throwing, like he could see into his glove and by his grip, and he was tipping off the batter. And so the pitcher took an intentional balk to move the base runner from second to third. And then after the out was made, they were yelling at one another. And so, I mean, there were quite a few people. The line is too obvious. Let me get this straight. So the Astros are angry because someone's figuring out the pitches that they're throwing. Got it. But the Red Sox are 6 in the 4th, beat Houston 6-1. The Red Sox are just 3 back of the Jays for first in the East. They're the 4 seed right now. They're the home wild card. They got a 1.5 lead on the Yankees, 2-game lead on Seattle for the wild card spots. Speaking of Seattle, they took 3 of 4 from Texas. They beat the Rangers 5-4. With Seattle taking 3 of 4 and Houston getting swept, the Mariners are just 2.5 back in the West. Twins avoided the sweep, beat the Guardians 5-4. That keeps Cleveland 8 back of Detroit. We'll get to the Tigers in a moment. Kansas City, meanwhile, took 2 of 3 from the Jays. 5 in the 10th for the Royals in the 7-4 win. Kansas City 8.5 back in the Central, but 3.5 back for a wild card. Jays' lead, as we mentioned, has been cut to 3. Tigers lost 2 of 3 in Philadelphia. Phillies behind Christopher Sanchez's 8 shutout innings, and Schwarber hit his 38 dinger. Phillies are back in first thanks to the 2-0 win because the Mets lost 2 of 3 at home to the Giants. San Francisco 12-4 yesterday. Devers snapped out of a slump with a homer and 4 RBIs. The Dodgers took 2 of 3 from the Rays in Tampa, 3-0 the final, even though during the series, the Dodgers went 18 consecutive scoreless innings. The Rays are 5 back in the wild card chase. The Dodgers lead is 3 over the Padres. Padres with 4 in the 7th beat the Cardinals 7-3. San Diego's won 7 of 8. They have a 4-game lead over the Reds for the final playoff spot in the National League. So San Diego 3 back of the Dodgers and a 4-game lead for the final wild card. Milwaukee remains hot. They swept Washington. In fact, they swept the season series from the Nats. 14-3. Bryce Terang with 2 homers. The Brewers are 46-19 since mid-May. 46-19. Damn, is that good baseball? That's like 750 baseball. That's so good. The Cubs keep pace. They took 2 of 3 from the Orioles, 5-3 the final. Justin Turner with the walk-off 2-run homer in the 9th. Cubs remain 2 back. Braves took 2 of 3 from the Reds. They won in Bristol, Tennessee yesterday. Eli White hit 2 homers. 91,032, the official attendance for Atlanta to defeat Cincinnati at Bristol Motor Speedway 4-2. Pittsburgh got 2 homers from Spencer Harwitz. He drove in 6. They avoided getting swept in Colorado 9-5. Friday night, the Pirates scored 9 in the first inning and lost 17-16. Arizona took 2 of 3 from the A's. Blaise Alexander with a homer in the 6-4 win. And Taylor Ward had a 3-run walk-off homer for the Angels, 8-5 over the White Sox. Angels came from 5-0 down to win, and the White Sox were trying to sweep that series. All right, NFL. It was Hall of Fame weekend, as we mentioned. Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Antonio Gates, Sterling Sharp, Brent Musburger, Mary Kay Cabot, among those honored in Canton, Ohio. Dolphins with some news. First off, they signed Zach Sealer. They gave him $22.5 million a year for 3 years. 2 of the 3 years are guaranteed. $44 million of the $67.5 are guaranteed. So Sealer signed for 4 more years. Dolphins, they're going to lose offensive tackle Austin Jackson for, quote, a few weeks, unquote, with a lower leg injury. He was stepped on. Jackson keeps getting hurt. So we can now put injury prone next to Austin Jackson. They say he'll be ready for week 1 against the Colts.
Okay, let's see.
Not like teams have ever been overly optimistic with their injury information before.
I mean, but the 2 areas that the Dolphins cannot afford injuries are the defensive backs and the offensive line. And where have they had injuries in training camp?
That would be the secondary and the O-line, Mark. Dolphins signed veteran Jermaine Ifedi for reassurance. Raiders lost safety Lonnie Johnson to a broken leg after he collided with Max Crosby in practice. Bills wide receiver Khalil Shakir, quote, week to week, unquote, with a high ankle sprain. Remember, Bills open with the Ravens Sunday Night Football. Also, the Bills now have a hold-in. Running back James Cook. He was unhappy, but he kept showing up when he absolutely had to. And he has showed up for camp and took part for the first week and a half. But beginning yesterday, he showed up and he didn't do a thing. And when asked what's going on, he said, it's business.
It's business.
And when asked, well, what's it going to be like on Monday? And he said, it's going to be business. So, okay. To golf. PGA Tour. Cameron Young. He had finished second, 7 times? He strolled at the Wyndham Championship, took a 5-shot lead into Sunday, quickly made it 9 won by 6. By the way, Cameron Young becomes the 1,000th golfer to win on the PGA Tour. That's a hell of a distinction.
It is. It is. And I will say, you're right. He did get up to a 4-shot lead, but they have that bounce back stat. He started with a bogey. He's got this big lead. He bogeys the first hole. It's like, oh boy, what's going to happen? Made 4 straight birdies after that.
He also moved up to 15th in the Ryder Cup standings. This is significant because Cameron Young 2 years ago was 9th on the Ryder Cup list and got passed over. Cameron Young is from New York. Cameron Young, one of the courses he has played often is Bethpage, where the Ryder Cup is. Cameron Young, up until last year, had the course record at Bethpage. Cameron Young really wants to be on the Ryder Cup team, and he's making his case. Tony Finau and Ricky Fowler were part of the group that made it into the FedEx Cup playoffs. Top 70 advanced. LPGA, the Open Championship. Charlie Hull made a huge run over the weekend. She was 11 back heading into Saturday. She got it to within 1. But Mayu Yamashita, a day after her 24th birthday, picks up her first ever win on the LPGA Tour. She had won 13 times in Japan, and she wins the Open Championship by 2 over Hull and Katsu. Lottie Wode, by the way, the Florida State golfer who won as an amateur and has already won as a professional, she never really contended, even though she shot 3 rounds under par. She finished 7 shots back, tied for 8th. NASCAR, they were in Iowa. The race was on USA Network. Boy,
While they showed track and field on NBC.
William Byron did not pit over the final 144 laps, which means he made it on tires and gas to win his second race of the season. Remember, Byron won Daytona. Chase Briscoe second. Brad Keselowski, who needs a win to get in the playoffs, he finished 3rd. Ross Chastain, 11th. NBA over the weekend. Luka signed a 3-year max extension. He's going to make $55 a year beginning next year. And by the way, he looks like he's lost like 25 pounds. He looks like a totally different dude.
Absolutely. What was he on the cover of Men's Health or something like that?
Yeah. WNBA, Indiana without Caitlin. They've figured it out. They beat Seattle in Seattle, 78-74. Our buddy Semesco and the Atlanta Dream have the 3rd best record in the league. They won their 4th in a row. They beat Washington by 16. New York beat Connecticut. Connecticut got sold to a minority owner of the Boston Celtics. Remember when Portnoy 2 weeks ago, Mark, said, if I could buy a WNBA franchise and move them to Boston for $250 million, I'd do it tomorrow. Guess how much the Connecticut Sun got sold for? $320 million to get moved to Boston. Phoenix over Chicago. They've lost 7 straight by 16. And Vegas beat Golden State by 24. Messi got hurt. They're calling it a minor right leg muscle injury. When you're 38 years old, nothing's minor. He was playing in this League's Cup, which was meaningless. Why he was playing, who knows? He got hurt. We'll see when he comes back. And overnight, the NFLPA named David White their interim executive director. White was the guy 2 years ago that the executive council recommended by a 10-1 vote be their executive director. And obviously they didn't give him the job. Well, now 2 years later, they're going to try to get him the job again, but he's only interim. And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories, and second time may be the charm here on Miller and Moulton.
David, I have added a sports poll question, so we jump out of the gate with 2. Always like to give us a cushion on Monday, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Nice to have it. We have our chocolate chip cookie question. because today is National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. Do you prefer a soft cookie or a crispy cookie? And if you could only go to one game, week 1 of the college football season, which of these would you choose? Notre Dame at Miami, LSU at Clemson, Texas at Ohio State. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or Miller_Moulton to vote. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
It's time again for the Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit featuring Dr. Roto, Tuesday, August 12th, Shula Show Sports Cafe inside the Doubletree Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. Sign up at millerandmoulton.com. You get dinner and the expertise of one of the best fantasy players in the country, and Doc Roto will even give you a cheat sheet for your fantasy draft on your way out the door. Sign up at millerandmoulton.com. Tuesday, August 12th, is our Fantasy Football Summit. Dr. Roto and you. It's a fun night, and we help you win your fantasy football.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
Shula Show Sports Cafe is where your fantasy football draft should be. Free private rooms, Wi-Fi, plus food and drink specials. In August, Shula's has bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays with your chance to win free wings and beer for a year. Fridays, live music on the deck. Saturdays, karaoke on the deck. Plus daily meal specials like Wednesdays, $6 wings and half-price pizza. Watch all your baseball and football at Shula's Joe's, your home for good food, good times, and good sports in the Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floormeisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floormeisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floormeisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So what, did you see the story, Deadstroke, that the what was the one game in the Southwest Regional or whatever it was, the team lost because a player slid head first, and apparently you're not allowed to do that? That was interesting. What issues are you talking about? That's I don't know if that's some innuendo towards a female. I don't know, but the issue she's going through is she's hurt. Puck. I mean, she's been hurt all year.
Who?
Caitlin Clark.
Gotcha.
is she going through some issues? Like, I don't know if that's a shot at females. I don't know how to take the issues in quotation marks. To me, she had a leg injury and then a groin injury, and I think she came back too soon from both of them. And I think they're wise to shut her down until she's back. It's like DJ Lagway was practicing. I wouldn't let him practice for a week and after he was ready. I wouldn't test it with the calf. I'd be scared to death.
Oh, Deadstruck, totally. I wouldn't let Acuna play the rest of the year. Absolutely. And I don't care. I don't care if he was yelling at me every day. I don't know if I'd let Sale pitch. And I know he'd yell at me. How's everybody doing? Everybody all right? They said 91,000 total. The scene was great Saturday night. I'm with Mark. I was fired up to watch it, but I was following the weather. I knew it was going to be a problem.
Funny, I was texting my buddy Saturday because he lives in Greenville, South Carolina, and he's a huge Reds fan. And I'm like, "Are you going?" And he's like, his wife's a teacher, and their first day in South Carolina is today.
Oh,
he's
wow.
like, "We were thinking about it." He goes, "But she's got to work Monday," and it's like, it's not that far away. Be pretty happy I didn't go.
Yeah.
God, went out to a dinner at a place Saturday, David, you would have just hated.
Real silverware.
Yeah, real silverware, kind of a fan. The woman was on Chopped. That's the chef there. Really good place, but not your kind of cuisine.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this first Monday of August. We're 19 days away from Iowa State, Kansas State, and Dublin.
There you go. There you go.
I did that for Mark. I care about him. Okay. We're married now, 19 plus years on this show. I figured I'd show some respect. Okay. For my broadcast partner. But the college football season begins in 24 days, baby. With that big Thursday heading into Labor Day weekend, week 1, week 0. What the hell's a week 0? I know a Pepsi 0, a Coke 0, a Sprite 0. That I know. Week 0? What's a week 0?
By the way, Mellow Yellow 0, underrated. I think Mellow Yellow was underrated. I liked Mellow Yellow more than Mountain Dew back in the day. I was one of the few. It never made it. Mountain Dew, much better marketing, did a far better job. Pepsi kicked Coke's ass when it comes to that type of soda.
Do the do.
Right.
Right. But Mellow Yellow has a 0?
Yeah. Right. Who knew?
Not me.
But I only buy soda when Publix has the buy 2, get 1 free.
Right.
And so I get my Fresca because, want a Fresca? Danny? And it goes great with vodka. And I looked and I went, Mellow Yellow 0. I'll be damned. I'll try it. And I liked it. That's all I got.
All right. Well, I'll spend the rest of the week being on the lookout for it. And I'm not supposed to drink soda anymore, but I'll have me a Mellow Yellow 0 if I can find it. I'll pull the car over, create an accident and everything. What's the cause of the accident? He needed this soft drink. I don't know. He's got insurance, though. It'll be fine. Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Listen, I know I'm getting old. And there are so many examples on a daily basis that just keep reminding me of how old I really am. But I am getting more and more fascinated. I don't care about who's winning these tournaments in golf, okay, in the PGA Tour. I don't care. I care so much about who Keegan Bradley is going to pick for the U.S. Ryder Cup team. I don't even know if I'm going to be as into the Ryder Cup itself as I am fascinated by who it is he's going to pick for the team. There is no work to be done in Europe, right? Isn't it like 13 guys for 12 spots? I mean, Luke Donald could wake up from one of those soap opera comas 10 minutes before he's got to submit it and go, yeah, I'll take finally this guy over this guy.
Well, and even, I mean, there's maybe one pick there because Matt Fitzpatrick actually jumped Thomas Dietrich. He's now 12th. The question for Donald and the Europeans is Thomas Dietrich or Matt Wallace. I'm serious. I don't think there's another, that's it. One's 11, one's 13. Because here are the players 7 through 13, if you will. Rasmus Højgaard, he's in. Justin Rose, he's in.
He's in.
Oberg, that's a dunk. Hovland, another dunk. And then 11 is Matt Wallace, 12 is Matt Fitzpatrick, 13 is Thomas Dietrich. I that's it.
He may just take the top 12 in order and
Right.
be just fine with it. Right. Luke Donald has no work to do. Okay. The U.S. team is fascinating. The guy who's 8th can't play right now.
And I think he's a lock. For the record, I think he's going to get picked. I would be so surprised if Colin Morikawa was not on the team. And every point you make is exactly right. And when we've had golf guys on the show, Whit Watson was on last week. Whit Watson thinks it's a really tough decision that he believes, and I thought we agreed with him, that Keegan Bradley is going to have to sit down with Colin Morikawa and basically ask him if he can do it. That it's kind of on Morikawa. Hey, you've stunk the last 6 months. Do we need to bring Cher in and slap him across the face and say, snap out of it?
Well, see, I don't think you can ask him. That's like the manager walking out to the mound and asking the pitcher, can you get this guy out? I mean, 98 times out of 100, the pitcher's like, yeah, Skip, absolutely. Very rarely do they go, no, man, I'm gassed. I'm done.
But, Patrick Cantlay's 14. You got to think about taking him. Cameron Young moved to 15. Just one.
And he, up until last year, he owned the course record at Bethpage. He's from the area. Okay, and last time around, he was 9th on the list, and you screwed him and didn't pick him.
Sam Burns, who, if it weren't for the fact that he's best friends with Scotty Scheffler, to me would be an easy omission. But did you hear the first part? He's best friends with who? Scotty Scheffler, the #1 player in the world.
And by best friends, we mean that the two of them and their wives go on vacation together.
And then you have Wyndham Clark at 17 and Lucas Glover at 18. Guys that can play.
And Gotterup's 20.
Who's been one of the hotter guys on tour for the last month after winning the Scottish Open, had a great British. So, yes, he has decisions ahead of him.
By the way, is Bradley now 10th or is he still 9th?
But Bradley is 10th.
Yeah.
Justin Thomas 7, Morikawa 8, Ben Griffin 9, Keegan Bradley 10, Maverick McNeely 11, and Brian Harman 12.
And Harman's going to be on the team. He is. He's going to be on the team.
So Maverick McNeely and Ben Griffin are the two guys that you have to watch out for getting cut for being 9 and 11. And remember, first off, Bradley's got to pick himself 1. And 2, Bradley was in the top 12 and didn't make the team last time.
Right. He was 11th and didn't get picked and was crushed. So now is he going to be loyal to the top 12 list because he remembers getting cut? Or is he going to say, hey, business is business? I'm all in on this. I almost could care less about the matches, but I'm all in on this. I thought CBS did a great job for anybody that watched golf yesterday. I thought they did a phenomenal job, hole by hole, of letting us know what the FedEx Cup situation was with every
Agreed.
birdie,
Agreed.
par, and bogey. I thought they did a great job of keeping us up to date on that. By the way, I don't know if anybody's heard, but Ian Baker Finch is retiring. He's one of the 5 greatest humans, apparently, in the history of Western civilization. Is anybody aware that he's retiring? Anybody? Come on. I get it. He's a great guy. He's popular, within the golfing community there. Okay. I mean, with all due respect, this isn't Nance walking away. It was Ian Baker Finch. We don't even know what hole he gets at Augusta on a year-to-year basis. How big of a deal can it be? That's what I'm more interested in. Who's going to get his hole at Augusta? Who are they going to hire to replace him? Man, I'd have turned the volume down. He was crying 30 minutes into Sunday's broadcast. He cried on Saturday. He cried last week. Enough already. Please.
And by the way, here just to say how tough it is going to be to watch the Ryder Cup this year, because one of the tough things about it when it's in the States is it's on during the middle of the day. When what else is on? College football and pro football. So if you're going to watch the Ryder Cup on Saturday, you're going to watch that. Well, I guess Oregon, Penn State's at least at night. Alabama, Georgia is at least at night. But you've got Notre Dame and Arkansas. That's a noon kick. LSU and Ole Miss could be in your 3:30 slot. So that's what you're choosing it over. Oh, by the way, on Sunday, David, we start at 9:30 in the morning with our first European game. It just happens to be the Vikings and Steelers, 2 teams that aren't popular at all.
By the way, what weekend is that? Is that the weekend of the
27th, 28th?
Mark, Saturday at 3:30, we've got Ohio State at Washington. The Buckeyes draw a pretty decent number.
I know, but it's Washington. I
understand.
You're right.
I understand. Now, I will say, if you skip the pregame shows that day, you can see the morning session. So you may have to give up, big noon kickoff and, game day to at least see the morning session on Saturday.
But that's all. I mean, you got a full college football Saturday, and NFL starts at 9:30 on Sunday.
Yes, they do. There's not a day or time that they're not playing. That's their goal. Not a day or time.
And as the matches are finishing up around dinner time, because they'll start at 1 probably or noon with the singles, Ravens Chiefs at 4:25. So, yes, there is a little competition for the Ryder Cup. There always is when it's played in the States. But I'm with you. We've got 2 weeks. We've got the St. Jude this week and the BMW next week, and he picks after the BMW.
Right. Yep, he has to. So I'm more interested in that. And by the way, he has not had a great last month. Okay? I mean, it hasn't been awful, but it hasn't been great. I mean, he was 11th last year and got left off the team. He's 10th this year. I know a month ago he was, it's a lock. He's got to pick himself. Right now, Keegan Bradley or Cam Young? Who would you take?
Keegan Bradley.
Really?
Cam Young won a tournament. Come on now.
Cam Young's been a really good golfer for 4 years, though.
Okay, and so is Keegan Bradley.
Right. Yeah. I mean, 2 years.
That's where I'm. If I'm the captain, I'm going by the points. This isn't because I want Keegan Bradley to be a player captain. I'm picking Keegan Bradley as of this moment in time. There's still 2 weeks, and I think there's a lot to be decided.
Well, I want player captain too because I'm old enough to remember when we had player managers in baseball. I loved Rose as a player manager. I loved Frank Robinson as a player manager. Joe Torre was player manager for a year with the Mets. I loved it.
And David, of course, the greatest player manager of all time, Reg Dunlop.
How could you not want a player manager / player coach? I mean, the script's already written.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Faro and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Faro and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Faro and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
This is Miller and Moulton.
David, Don Baylor, Mike Scioscia, player managers. I don't recall that, but I'm certainly not saying you're wrong, Sonny, but I don't ever remember that.
I don't think Scioscia was a player manager with the Angels. Don Baylor, player manager. Huh.
Pete Rose is the most recent.
Yeah, 86.
Don Baylor was not.
No,
I don't think Sosha was either, but I'm just checking.
no, he wasn't, because Sosha played into the early 90s.
Correct. Okay. I just have a list of all of them. It was alphabetical, so I'm just checking.
I know Frank Robinson, when he got the Indians job, first Pleck manager, it was player manager for like a year and a half.
I remember getting the baseball card.
Yeah. Yep.
Rick Robinson player.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yep.
Yep. It was like the 74, 75 tops card, somewhere in that general vicinity, I would say. Maybe a little later. Maybe later than that. But
Torrey, player manager with the Mets. How about Marv Levy, 100 years old?
I love the line. I'll see everybody when I hope you're all here when I turn 200.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Ryan O'Halloran to join us in a little more than 15 minutes time. We'll talk a little Bills. He's excited. He's leaving the Bills beat, though. He's headed to Jacksonville. He's replacing a legendary sports writer in Jacksonville and in the state of Florida, Eugene Fournette. He's going to replace him as columnist of the Times-Union. That's a big gig. That's a big gig. He's the guy after the guy, Mark.
No, you're right. More importantly, though, David, you've talked about this openly, so I don't think I'm breaking in a new ground here. You've moved to Jacksonville. You've been there a while, and you have complained on air of your lack of friends in the 904.
Yes.
Are you going to offer up either a tour of Jacksonville or a meet and greet with Ryan when he moves to your fair city?
Oh yeah. He'll never come on this show by about October. I'm going to be all over Ryan O'Halloran. Right. Hey, you know somebody in Jacksonville, you know me. What do you say? You want to go out? What, wings? Okay. Plus, remember, he's got the North Dakota background.
Oh boy.
Oh, I'm going to be all over him.
Too bad you're not in the studio to make the call to put him on the air. You just call right when we ended the segment. You could talk for 6-8 minutes. Make sure. Well, now he's got your number because you get a hold of these people via text.
Right. Hello, friend.
Hey, buddy.
Okay? Hey, buddy. You need help moving? I don't even offer that for family members anymore, but for you, buddy, too old to be helping people move. I was that guy.
I was for a lot of years when I lived here and worked here because I had the one thing necessary to help someone move. I drove a pickup truck.
Oh.
And at that point, you're pretty much committed. If you have a pickup, hey, do you think you can help me move a couch? No, it's not an option. You've got the truck.
But you could be the guy that just shows up with the truck, opens up the back of it, and says, "Let me know when it's full."
Not really.
But
Because
man,
it's not like a lot of other people are at that point showing up to help that person move.
right? I know. I know.
And I made the mistake one time of asking for help when I moved, I believe, and did get that help, and then had to return the favor like 4 times because that guy hopped apartments for about 2 years.
After the third one, did you say, "Listen, we're even after this"? Okay.
Right. None of this third story crap either.
Right. Yeah, I was the guy at TV and radio stations. You need help moving? Sure, I'll be there. And I carried the heavy stuff, and oh yeah, into my 40s, I was the guy. And then I'm like, what am I doing? I'm old. I have gray hair already. That was pretty much it. Once I started going gray, I'm like, I don't think I should be moving people anymore. Hell, I don't even cut my own grass anymore. Why am I helping you move? What's your name again, anyway? Just because we work at the same damn station together.
By the way, David, just a quick weekend update for you. I did get my hair cut on Saturday, and the wife noticed right away.
Well, it's because your wife loves you. Okay.
This little thing between Miller and Moulton. Get your hair cut and check if your wife even notices.
All right. This is the God's honest truth. I know. Air Advantage. Okay. MyAirAdvantage.com. Right. Coolest thing I've seen today coming right up. Okay. As God is my witness. All right. I hadn't shaved for a month. Longest time I've ever gone without shaving. And my beard now is all white. All white. There's not a hint of pepper anywhere. I shaved yesterday. Wife goes to church. While she's at church, I shave. She comes home from church. We spend an hour in very close proximity of one another in the living room. Not a word. I looked like Saint Nick.
You were getting thick, and it was white, and I don't think it looks good on you.
I agree. And I
look
shaved
much better cleanly shaven. That's all. It would be a better way.
not a word from my wife. Not, hey, you shaved, you look good. Nothing. Hey, let me kiss that cheek. I haven't been able to get to it for a month. Nothing. Mark gets a haircut. 16 seconds in the door. Hey, your hair looks good. I like it. Right.
Time now for the coolest thing I've seen today. It's brought to you by Air Advantage. Like David said, myairadvantage.com, or call 239-433-4635. That's 433-4635. And there was a bunch of things to choose from. The swimming was great. I will say the 800 between the Canadian there, Summer McIntosh and Katie Ledecky, and then the other one who had silver was a great race.
Yeah, the Australian, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm going to go to Chicago. And Saturday, in the game in which they honored Ryne Sandberg, great, and you wouldn't expect anything less. He's one of the best Cubs to ever play, to ever put on the uniform. There's a statue of him out front. But Andre Dawson, Shane Dunston, Rich Sutcliffe, and Jody Davis were all there to honor their great infielder. And all of the Cubs wore 23. In fact, the player playing second wore Nico Horner wore the sunglasses, the flip down shades like Rhino used to wear. And unfortunately for the Cubbies, they lost the game in what would have been a unbelievable celebration of an all-time great. But I thought it was a really cool move. They wore the blue jerseys that Sandberg apparently loved and routinely wore as a Cub. So I just thought, of all the things this weekend to point out, the celebration of one Ryne Sandberg was worthy of the coolest thing of the day. Brought to you by Air Advantage online, myairadvantage.com.
By the way, did you see or hear the anthem before the game? I do not know who sang it. He has a great voice, deep voice. So he's doing the anthem. And obviously, it's, we're honoring the late Ryan Sandberg. And so when he gets to near the end, land of the free, home of the brave, he land of 23 and held it for like 20 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, the ballpark was stirring. It was so awesome. And then he did, home of the brave. But it gave me goosebumps. All right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. We've got a couple of poll questions up for you today. It's National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. Do you prefer a soft cookie or a crispy cookie? 3/4 of you say a soft cookie. And then if you could only go to one game, week 1 of the college football season, which would you choose? Notre Dame at Miami, LSU at Clemson, Texas at Ohio State. Close vote, early voting, Texas at Ohio State. In the lead, LSU, Clemson in second, Notre Dame at Miami in last. Very surprised that the Catholics versus the Convicts is trailing in that vote right now.
I voted Clemson because I've never been. And I would love to take in the atmosphere, the whole touch the rock and run down the hill. Although Dabo leading the way, I don't know about that. I got to be honest. Coach, come on, get out of the way. Get out of the way. A, you could get hurt. B, one of these days you're going to fall. You are. But, man, he goes full speed, baby, down that hill. And, once you get older, Mark, it takes a lot longer to slow the momentum down. So he's like 70 yards down the field trying to pump the brakes. But
yeah, I've not voted, and I'm between LSU, Clemson, and Texas, Ohio State, merely because it's Notre Dame at Miami. And the game's in August. And that, by cardinal rule, living in this state is do not attend football games in August, September, or early October. It's too damn hot.
Columbus stays the cutoff for Mark, okay?
Unless it's club seats or a suite. Then all bets are off.
Oh, well, then.
Gotta have some air conditioning there. Miller_Moulton on X, that Mark Miller, the David Moulton. Please vote or text us at 21,000. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe. And American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Jim, I would hang out at the tailgate for 2 hours after the game. I'd let the whole parking lot empty. Next day's Labor Day. Got the day off. I'd be in that parking lot till 1 a.m. Good luck, Chad.
He is on.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Kye Sielaff, the television voice of the red hot, smoking hot, swept the Yankees back to 500 hot Miami Marlins. He will join us coming up. A reminder, go to millerandmoulton.com, sign up for the Fantasy Football Summit. It's a week from tomorrow. Dr. Roto, dinner, Miller and Moulton, and you. More football talk than you can handle, almost. millerandmoulton.com, sign up. It's a unique event. You'll crush your fantasy football draft, and you'll win your fantasy football league. Listen, I lived in upstate New York. Ryan O'Halloran lives in upstate New York. Ryan O'Halloran grew up in North Dakota. I lived in North Dakota. Ryan O'Halloran is leaving upstate New York to move to Jacksonville. I live in Jacksonville. Ryan, do you need somebody to pick you up at the airport? You need help with the moving vans, buddy. Realtor, what do you need, buddy? I'm your new best friend, Ryan. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me again. Yeah, I was down there over the weekend, so I took care of the.
Whoa! You didn't call? We didn't do dinner? What?
Well, there'll be time for that.
Okay.
So, but looking forward to getting down there next week and getting going.
All right, before we talk Jags, your new beat, let's talk about the beat you're leaving, the Bills. When obviously I get the Cook thing and that's a story, but when you look kind of through their lineup, there doesn't seem to be a lot of changes. They added Bosa on defense. They added a couple of things, but this is kind of running back the same team almost, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. They'll start on offense, really just one new starter and Josh Palmer, the receiver from the Chargers. Same offensive line. Defense, they're working in some new people. They're working in Bosa. They're really managing his reps because they want to just keep him upright. And, then they probably were counting on Maxwell Harrison to start the corner. He's out with a knee. And then, they got 2 defensive linemen they signed. Well, they're suspended for 6 games. And then they drafted 3 rookies. So a lot more questions at this point, a month from the opener, on defense than offense.
Is there any team more dependent on one guy than the Bills are, Josh Allen?
No, and that's probably why I would pick him to win MVP again. Is this team is much greater than the sum of its individual parts. You add them together, you get a great team. You look on defense, we're the difference makers. You look on offense, is James Cook, I think, is a difference maker, but this is all on Allen, and it's going to be on his shoulders. He's fine with that. He knows how to protect himself when he's trying to make plays out of the pocket. And, so yes is the answer to that question.
Unfortunately, one of the worst teams defensively, but at the bottom end defensively. Their offense was great. I mean, it was addressed in the offseason with draft picks and acquisitions. But as you pointed out, the defense looks, with suspensions and a couple of injuries, like this could be a work in progress for the first few weeks of the season. The offense will have to carry them. But what are the What's the upside of the defense that you see from last year that could really change their outcome in January?
I think it's, they take the ball away because they play with a lead. Last year they were plus 24 in turnover differential. Allen didn't turn it over. The defense was able to get takeaways, 32 of them. So that's the great equalizer. They're going to give up yards because I think they're going to be playing with a lead. So you play a little bit different with your coverages. You give up the short gains to prevent the long touchdowns. So, I think they got to be better against the run, against really good running teams. That's why they drafted Sanders and Walker to help anchor the middle after Oliver and Jones. So, defensively, the numbers are going to be skewed a little bit because of how good their offense is and how blowout games. But they do have some questions on defense because Cole Bishop, they're basically, okay, you're the starter now and in your second year. He can't stay on the field. He's hurt again. So you want these young guys to get all these practice snaps, but they're not getting them because they're injured.
Ryan O'Halloran, in his final moments as a columnist for the Buffalo News, headed to the 904. All right, going to be a columnist for the Times-Union in Jacksonville. You can follow Ryan on X at Ryan O'Halloran, OHALLORAN. This Cook thing, we're surprised for what it's worth that the McLaurin thing has escalated to where it's at. Do you think this could potentially escalate further than him just basically taking the next couple weeks of practice off, or do you think that this is it?
I think there would only be one more step of escalation. That would be a trade request. And judging by James's actions yesterday, he's following the leader in terms of McLaurin and Parsons. And so let's see what he says in the next couple of days. I think James Cook is either he's getting no advice or he's getting bad advice. If you're going to do a hold-in, do it the first day. You practice for a week and a half, then all of a sudden you decide, hey, I'm going to wrap this up. So and you got to sit out now. You can't just make this a 1 or 2 day deal. So either he's not happy with the numbers being exchanged, or he's not happy that the Bills aren't really coming to the table. Interesting development here yesterday because he's sort of doing it backwards, I think.
Well, you're right. The next step would be a trade request, but I mean, none of us. To me, I don't buy that McLaurin's getting traded. I don't buy that Parsons is getting traded. And if Cook says I want to get traded, I'm not really buying that either. As he said, it is just business. But at what point does the business become a distraction to the rest of the team? Or are players just comfortable with this now? And that's his deal. When he gets back, he gets back.
Yeah, probably that. Especially when you're a month out from the opener, players are going to say you got to look out for yourself in this situation. If it comes to describe, I think if it's like a week from now, and they probably treat the Chicago game as the tune-up for the starters. Okay, if he's not practicing, that becomes a distraction because even though if you're not going to play in the preseason games, you're still getting your work in for the regular season. And so I think we're a little bit away from it being a full-blown crisis. But now, if you're Sean McDermott, it's just an annoyance.
Is there a reason why they can't pay him? I mean, first off, his contract for this year is set, so it's not going to affect this year's cap. We're just talking about an extension, and you mentioned it casually a couple of questions ago when you said, difference makers. Outside of Josh, he might be the second best player on the team, so to speak. I mean, is there a reason why they can't or won't pay him?
You boil it down to two. One is that they are trying to re-sign him, yet the numbers are that they're so far apart. The second reason, maybe their philosophical stance is not going to pay it back. Period. We'll go get another one. Disagree with that. I disagree with that opinion if it is, because I think James Cook is is an elite running back who can score touchdowns. He can catch passes out of the backfield, make plays that way. So. And I always go back when there's a team and a player, upset with each other, or the team is considering re-signing a player. Is it easier to re-sign the player, or is it easier to go get his replacement? Well, in this case, it's a no-brainer. It's easier to re-sign him.
When you look at the offense, and obviously it was very good last year, with the addition of Palmer, Coleman now in his second year, Shakir's proven that he can stretch defenses. From a passing standpoint, this offense seems to me like it could get better. Am I right?
Yeah, I think it could be because you need Coleman to take a jump. Palmer has a high per catch, yards per catch, so he'll benefit from Allen. I think the key is Dalton Kincaid. They drafted this guy in the first round 2 years ago to play tight end. I think the aim last year was have the passing game go through Kincaid. Well, he battled injuries, played hurt, wasn't very effective. So I think Kincaid is going to be a key, Coleman a key, because you know what you're going to get out of Khalil Shakir. You're going to get 75 catches. You're going to get a safety blanket. You're going to get bubbles, turns into big plays, etc. So I think it goes through Kincaid and then Coleman, and then Palmer can try and be your home run guy.
Do you know who you're replacing in Jacksonville?
The legend, well, since I was there as a beat writer from 2012 to 17, Gene Fredette was the columnist.
Yeah, a legend. Okay, a legend, not in the state, never mind at the Times-Union. I mean, buddy, this is like, the guy who's going to have to replace Josh Allen. I mean, can you handle this? Are you ready for this, buddy, friend?
To quote to use the saying at all these teams, I was built for this.
Well said. Well, I'm curious now coming to Jacksonville. Obviously, you are watching one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. Many in Jacksonville were hoping that Trevor Lawrence will become that. What do you need to see this year out of Trevor Lawrence to think that he's making the right strides to be a great quarterback?
Yeah, I think the consistency is the first thing. He obviously was injured last year, that ended the season. But if you go back, you look at these quarterbacks, did the circumstances fail him, or did he just fail himself? And, he's been through a lot of stuff. With Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, I mean, those are two guys to throw to. So I think Trevor Lawrence is running out of excuses. They basically hired an offensive coach in Liam Cohen. They made the trade for Hunter. So, they signed linemen. So they're trying to build it around Trevor Lawrence. Now it's up to him to see if he can carry a team.
Just so you know, it's been over 100 degrees in Jacksonville like 6 times in the month of July. Okay. I mean, are you sure you're ready for this? We ain't playing around, Ryan. Okay. I mean, we're not playing. We've taken our hotness to a whole new level. Are you sure you're ready for this, Mr. Buffalo, Mr. North Dakota?
Because I got exposed to it a couple of years, like for 6 training camps, whatever. I will say this. I tell people up here, I grew up in North Dakota. I had never seen snow like this. So I'm not going to miss it.
Well, and you get here just in time for the peak of hurricane season. So Welcome to Florida. Best of luck in Jacksonville, and we hope we can talk to you a lot more down the road as the time comes. But certainly the Jags are, they're in to me, a fascinating year because obviously another new coach. We talked about Trevor, Hunter, everybody's goo-goo over Hunter, but this is a team, early seasons, I know it's 17 games, but I think this Jacksonville team, they have to get off to a good start. I know the fans won't turn, but at some point, they've got to do something positive other than win the offseason, don't they?
They do. And you start off with Carolina at home, then at Cincinnati, then home to Houston. Got to get those 2 home games. And you have to create some confidence in that locker room, some belief in that locker room, and in fan base. Say, hey, the times are changing, because times have been terrible. So I think getting off to a good start would create some of that, needed foundation.
Well, listen, you've got my info, okay? Let me know if you need picked up at the airport, okay, or when you're getting to town, okay? My wife, your family. I mean, whatever you need, buddy. I'm your guy.
All right. Well, I'll count on that.
Ryan, thanks a lot. Good luck with the move. Good luck covering the rest of training camp in Buffalo, and looking forward to having you in Jacksonville.
All right. Thanks, now. Take care.
Ryan O'Halloran. I don't know. I think
you better text him and let him know that was radio shtick. That was over the top.
Yep.
That was professional wrestling-esque.
It was, especially for me. Okay. I don't know. I think at the beginning of the call, I think we were going to have lunch. By the end, I think he had decided, well, I don't even know if I'm going to go on their show anymore.
I think he's scared, and rightly so. I would be too. What a difference, though. Covering a team right now who basically are Super Bowl or bust.
Yes.
I mean, that's it for a Bills fan. If they don't play in the final game, the season will just be a disappointment.
Yes.
And for Jacksonville, they're just hoping and praying that they're playing meaningful football in December.
Yeah, a little different. One team picking in the top 5, one team picking in the bottom 5. Right.
The Bills, by the way, that big game with Baltimore to open the season, and I'm guessing they're going to be a slight favorite because they are at home. So they will be favored. I'm trying to figure out the first time that they're not a favorite. You tell me the first time they're not a favorite, if indeed they're favored against Buffalo, at the Jets, home for Miami, home for New Orleans, home for New England, at Atlanta, at Carolina, home for Kansas City.
There you go. That'll be close.
At Miami, home for Tampa, at Houston on a Thursday, at Pittsburgh. I mean, this team could be favored, and they even have Philadelphia at home. It wouldn't surprise me, David, if they're not favored, and it doesn't, obviously they're not going 17-0. They're going to be favored in damn near every game they play this year.
I wonder if week 1 is for home field advantage in the AFC.
It very well could be. Very well could be. And the good news for the Bills is that they get that one at home. So, a lot at stake for the Buffalo Bills this year. How far can Josh Allen take him, or does it all fall on this defense? A defense that has faced a lot of injuries and has given up a lot of yards in the past couple years.
It's time again for the Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit featuring Dr. Roto, Tuesday, August 12th, Shula Show Sports Cafe inside the Doubletree Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. Sign up at millerandmoulton.com. You get dinner and the expertise of one of the best fantasy players in the country, and Doc Roto will even give you a cheat sheet for your fantasy draft on your way out the door. Sign up at millerandmoulton.com. Tuesday, August 12th, is our Fantasy Football Summit. Dr. Roto and you. It's a fun night, and we help you win your fantasy football league. With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs, and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
This is Miller and Moulton. You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home on this first Monday of August. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Joining us, as all our guests do, on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. The television voice of the red hot, smoking, just swept the Yankees on fire. Miami Marlins, you can see and hear him on the FanDuel Sports Network. He's Kye Sielaff. Follow Kyle on X at Kyle_Sielaff, Sielaff. Kyle, it's David and Mark. Normally we'd invite you on and ask you how you doing. How about how much fun was this past weekend?
Oh, it was amazing, guys. But the last 2 months have been some of the most enjoyable games and moments I've been a part of since I joined this organization in 2013. I mean, the run that they're on right now is, it's magical, and it's also historic. And to get back to 500 in the fashion that they did this weekend, by winning that game down 6-0 and 9-4 late on Friday, to blank them on Saturday and turn around yesterday and just stick it to them, and just played flat out better baseball for the entirety of the weekend was incredible. I mean, it's amazing, guys, what these guys are doing.
Well, obviously they are way ahead of expectations. There was not much thought of this team. They were going to battle the Nats to see who was going to be in fourth before the year. That's what everybody thought. When this turnaround started, one, did you see it? And is there anything you can point to as to why this team for the last 2 months has been playing such great baseball?
No, I don't think it's easy to say you could see it coming, and anybody that tells you that is full of it, because this all started on the heels of a 3-game series sweep at the hands of the Rockies down here. And I could be totally honest with you, I didn't exactly see them ripping off this kind of stretch after they were swept by the Rockies, with all due respect to Colorado. Clayton McCullough has said multiple times when the Marlins embarked on their first 3-city road trip of the season to Tampa, Pittsburgh, and Washington in June, he felt like it was the Tampa series. Even though it was a series that they lost, he felt like something had turned and that they had started to play for one another and play together. And it wasn't so much about individual performances, but it was about the team performance. So, and he's right. You could go back and look at that Tampa series and what started to follow shortly thereafter, and it's pretty easy to pinpoint and say, hey, that's where everything turned around. And it did, and it's been amazing. And it makes no sense that they could be 16 games under 500 on June 11th. And what is it, August 4th? Is it September? What month is it, guys? I have no idea. August 4th, with 55 and 55. And what's the saying? Everybody wins 50 and everybody loses 50. It depends on what you do in the other 52 that matter. They started those other 52, 5-5. Insane.
Kye Sielaff, the television voice of the Miami Marlins. They are 30-14 since getting swept by the Rockies. Second best mark in baseball behind only the Milwaukee Brewers. Listen, we all know the cliches, and they're largely true. You prepare for every game, whether there's 7,000 people or 35,000 people in the joint. Okay, we all have. But what was it like, that ballpark this weekend? And did you talk to any of the guys who had to be like, holy blank, we got a full house?
Well, I guess I'll start for me personally and that was the largest ever home attended 3-game series in the history of Lone Depot Park. That goes back obviously to 2012. There have been some great crowds before. Believe it or not, this was the largest ever attended series. The second now is a Yankee series 2 years ago. But I can confidently say 2 years ago, there were a lot more Yankees fans there than Marlins fans. And if there were more Yankees fans there every single game this weekend, it wasn't by much, because that place was rocking whenever the Marlins were performing well. And I know there's a lot of transients and transplants down here in South Florida. I can promise you some of those folks that came stumbling in with their Yankee jerseys on that they wear a couple of times a year might have left with some Marlins gear as well, because these Marlins made a lot of people proud this weekend. I did not talk to any players about the atmosphere. I didn't need to. I know how they feel about it. It meant the world to them. I don't know. It was surreal. It really was. And I don't know, just to get back to 500 in that kind of fashion in a weekend like this. And now it's time to turn the page to tonight, but it was just really, really amazing.
And of all the, look, there's greatness all around, but come on. Jacob Marcy gets called up to play his first games in the big leagues, and it's against the Yankees, and he has an unbelievable weekend. What a time to get called up, and what production.
Unbelievable. He's the first player since 1920 with 4 extra base hits and 4 walks in his first 12 career plate appearances. You think that's unbelievable? I mean, that doesn't happen. This kid came up from AAA. By the way, he hasn't hit lefties well all year long. The first guy he gets to face in the major leagues is Carlos Rodon, and he draws a walk. Come on. That's unbelievable. I mean, it's just insane. His contributions, and we've been hearing about him. This goes back to the Arise trade last May, where everybody was ready to put Peter on a stake and put him right on the cross and nail him to it, because they were beside themselves that you could trade Luis Arise, who's a great player and having a wonderful year for the Padres. But patience has paid off. They gave this kid an opportunity to really start to blossom in the minor leagues. They felt like he was ready to go. He was. And he comes up and makes a huge impact. Troy Johnson has made a huge impact. Kyle Stowers has as many home runs in the National League this season as Juan Soto. And you can make a case that Kyle Stowers, all contributions included, is the best left-handed hitter in the National League East. I don't think anybody saw that coming. I don't think Kyle Stowers saw that coming. And he's putting together, and I'm serious about this, if this continues, and it has all year long, he better be in that MVP conversation in the National League, because that's how good he's been.
Well, certainly the managers in the Manager of the Year category. We talked about it heading into the series. Girardi won Manager of the Year. What'd they win? 77, 79 that year, and he got fired, and he won Manager of the Year. Listen, usually you're the excited one in the booth, okay? Tommy Hutton, did you at any point in time turn to him and say, hey, I'm the excitable one. Calm down. He was on fire this weekend.
I'm only decent at this because Tommy Hutton is my wingman and absolutely incredible at this. He's been at this for so long. I love him to death, honestly. He is like the best broadcast partner in the world. He is so fun to be around. And what people don't see behind the scenes or on the camera is that he's always helping me and teaching me. He for his age and for as long as he's been around this game and the institutional knowledge that he has, guys, like, tickles me pink every day, because he is just so amazing to be around. He knows everybody in baseball. I mean, everybody. And a lot of people know him. And I think that just goes to show you the kind of respect that a lot of these folks have for Tommy. He is the absolute freaking best.
We were going into the trade deadline. I thought Alcantara was getting traded. I thought that was a done deal. Houston was after him. And now, today, he's on the bump against the Astros. And I kept telling my co-host, and and I know I'm a little nuts, but I'm a Tigers fan. I watched what they did last year. Nothing saying the Marlins can't do it, but it's not going to be an easy road. But the whole point of Alcantara not getting traded, did that matter in the clubhouse? Did that show them, hey, we're still fighting, or was it just a matter that the right deal wasn't there?
It mattered. It mattered because every single guy that was reported and rumored to be on the trade block and going elsewhere on Thursday walked back into the clubhouse on Friday afternoon to a standing ovation by their teammates. Was it a little bit sarcastic? Yes, but it also went to show you how much love and respect that these guys have for each other. To be honest with you, I think you have to start right there. Sandy is this franchise. He is the face of the franchise. There's a lot of good young players that are coming up and playing right now, but there's no doubt that Sandy Alcantara is the face of the franchise. And I don't know how many South Florida listeners you guys have, but I would encourage anybody that has the means to do so, come out to the ballpark tonight, because Sandy Alcantara is making his first home start since the trade deadline. And it was a start that nobody saw him making. And the team is back to 500. And you know what? A couple of weeks ago, it was all fun and games to talk about the wild card. But once you get yourself back to 500, it becomes a little bit more serious, guys. So I can't wait to watch Sandy tonight against the Astros. Marlins should have a good opportunity to win this game, too. So it's going to be a fun night.
Well, and Sandy's been pitching better, coming back from the injury. Had the terrific start, 7 innings, 5 scoreless in his last start. Sandy's pitching better, okay? I mean, he's not what he was before the injury, not yet, okay? But he's pitching better. Do you think this changes the game plan, all this success, probably at least a year, if not 2 years ahead of schedule? Do you think this will change the GM's thinking or no?
It's a good question. The one thing I know about Peter is he refuses to put timelines on things. I think it's a pretty salient way to operate, too, because I think once you start trying to place timelines on things, I think it skews your vision a little bit. It makes you make decisions that maybe you didn't want to make because you would kind of put these timelines together in your own head that, hey, we need to do this by this date. They didn't see this coming. They could tell you they did, they didn't. Nobody did. As you guys alluded to, and Vegas is not wrong very often. Not many folks had this team winning more than 65 games. Well, they're going to destroy that mark, and there's a very good chance now, the way they're playing, that they're not only going to finish the season at 500, but they're going to finish it above it. Now, post-2025, what they do in the offseason, I'm not sure, but this has got to be so darn encouraging. You know, Jeff McKeon said it yesterday, too, when he was inducted into the Marlins Hall of Fame. He thought this team was very similar to 2003, in that, hey, you have an unbelievable core, but you add a little here and you add a little there, and you give them the resources that they need to be successful, you just never know. So we'll see what the offseason brings. I know that they're enjoying the living heck out of this right now, as they should. Peter's not going to put a timeline on things as to when he thinks they should win, but obviously they're much closer now than when the season started, and boy, oh boy, what a ride.
Kyle, thanks so much for making time for us. Have a great call tonight, and hope this run continues and we could talk again before the month is out.
Well, it sounds great, guys. Whenever you want, I'm happy to hop on with you. Have a great day.
Kye Sielaff, he's now the television voice of the Miami Marlins. You can see Marlins games on the FanDuel Sports Network. Follow Kyle on X, Kyle_Sielaff, Sielaff.
What a run they are on. And Houston just got done being swept by Boston. They're going to come in angry. So this is an interesting game tonight with Alcantara on the mound. Miller and Moulton. Poll questions are up at Miller_Moulton.com. Thanks for listening. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or NolanAgency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floormeisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floormeisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dreamweaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floormeisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hey, have any of you North Fort Myers or Fort Myers people been to Blossoms and Brie? Been hearing very good things about it.
It is real, Puck. He handed the request right to Stephen Jones. Because Stephen was at camp because Jarrah was in Canton. When Jerry got asked about it in Canton, what was that quote again? Nothing. It was almost along the lines of nothing to see here.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
There isn't anything to see here. There's not. Phil, everything's you know what? A little pricey doesn't bother me if I get a great meal, Phil. That's where I'm at with a nice dinner. Things are expensive. I just kind of suck it up for that. I looked at the price online. I didn't think anything was too bad. I mean, we went to that Bicyclette Cookery on Saturday. That was a little pricey too, but it was really good. I have more of a problem with the mid-price restaurants and what they charge. Man, you can't get out of and I love Ford's Garage. So if anybody works it, I think it's a tremendous local restaurant that's turned into a chain. But you can't get out of there with two people for under $100 if you're having a couple of drinks. That's just what it costs now. It sucks. Not Ben. I was going to check out. We went to 1025, which I really enjoyed in downtown Fort Myers. Really enjoyed. Yeah, wait till those three little children start ordering up the adult menu, like my daughter, who likes lamb chops and oysters and routinely orders the most expensive damn thing on the menu.
What happened to mac and cheese, kid? How about some meatloaf?
She hates mac and cheese, by the way. Hates it. Loves pasta, hates mac and cheese.
Huh. Interesting.
Right. Like, I have more of an issue paying for a steak out because I think I can do it better. Like, I just want something that I don't think I make as well. But it's not cheap to go out.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us on this first Monday of August. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. A reminder, if you missed our last two interviews with Ryan O'Halloran, who's leaving the Buffalo News for the Jacksonville Times-Union, although we talked a little Bills and Jags, and Kye Sielaff, the TV voice of the Miami Marlins, go to millerandmoulton.com, download what you missed. When you're there, sign up for the Fantasy Football Summit. It's a week from tomorrow. We're doing this. Dr. Roto, dinner, Miller and Moulton, and a whole lot of football talk. Shoeless Joe Sports Cafe, although, get a good enough crowd. I think we got to move it down the hall into a conference room again. That would be nice. They had a nice buffet set up for us last year.
I figured that's where we were this year again.
I think we definitely are now.
It better be.
Yeah. So millerandmoulton.com, sign up, Fantasy Football Summit. Fort Myers, Shoeless Joe's, Bell Tower Shops, that's where it is. Okay. Week from tomorrow. Sign up, get registered.
So
Micah will let you in the door. Sorry.
Micah Parsons requested a trade.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like Jarrah, nothing to see here. I really don't believe that there is. But the one fun thing to me is when a Micah Parsons requests a trade, 31 teams or 31 people who cover teams immediately start looking as to what it would take for their team to acquire Micah Parsons.
Right.
And I have a buddy of mine who's a big Bengals fan. And he's like, hey, I know they probably can't afford it, but what about Hendrickson and a first for Parsons? And I'm like, I don't think it's enough. And I don't think either player is going anywhere. But I think, another friend of mine who's a Lions fan, he's like, what do the Lions need to do to get Parsons? That combo of Hutchinson and Parsons would be unbelievable on that side of the ball. I'd give up 3 ones now to make that trade. Like, now we're talking. This is your language, David. These are the things that get you excited when there's the opportunity to land the big fish in a trade. Now, I don't think Parsons, for the record, I think he's a Dallas Cowboy, period, end of sentence. He's not going anywhere. However, if he were to go, how much would it take to get him?
Well,
do you think the 3 ones is enough?
I'm not sure, because I'm thinking about what did the Bears give up for Khalil Mack back in the day? So last time the Bears made the play, well, that's not true. It's the last time they won the division. They went, I think 8-8 the last year that we played 16 games and made the playoffs that way. But last time they won the division was the year that they did the Khalil Mack trade. And I think you'd have to start there.
Mack and a second rounder to the Bears.
Uh-huh.
The Raiders got a first in 19, a first in 20, a sixth in 19, and a third in 20. So they got 4 picks.
So they just got
2 first-round picks.
So it was only 2 ones, a 3, and a 6?
Right. That's what I believe. I think I've got that right, David.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would have to be 3 ones for Micah. I think it would have to be 3 ones minimum. And I actually think Dallas would ask for more. And I actually think they'd get it. Because to me, the team that's going to trade for him is somebody who's drafting in the 20s or maybe even 30s.
Agreed.
So if you're the Cowboys, those ones don't necessarily have the value that they would, obviously, if they were somebody middle of the pack or even lower than that. Here's the reason why I think it's laughable to talk a Micah Parsons trade. Jerry's not thinking long term. Do you know anybody in their 80s who's thinking long term? Jerry hasn't won big in 30 years. Does Jerry really think he can win big with those draft choices as opposed to Micah Parsons? You know, Jerry thinks that his star players are going to finally stay healthy and they're going to be awesome again. You know, Dak, the 2 wide receivers, Micah wreaking havoc. Okay. Dallas don't know still if they can stop the run, and their secondary likes to gamble. But because they like to gamble, they do force turnovers, and they can put pressure on the passer. And that is a combination. I mean, if you have a high-scoring offense and if you have a vulnerable defense, but they like to put pressure on the passer and they do force some turnovers, you can win a lot of games with that formula. I don't know if you can win in January with that formula, but you can win a lot of games with that formula.
Interesting that you use that phrase, and I'm going to flip to another team. Then, with that statement you just made, a high-powered offense that can get after the quarterback with a vulnerable defense. Didn't you just describe what the Miami Dolphins should be?
That's if you believe they'll be a high-powered offense.
I gotcha. But we've seen them as a high-powered offense. And that's a defense that can get after the passer. And, secondary's not good, but they're, at least with Minkah, there are guys that you think can create turnovers, although he's not been very good at it the last couple of years. Go look at the numbers in Pittsburgh.
But they should get sacks. I mean, the Dolphins should. They really should. The Dolphins should be good for around 50 sacks. If they're not, then their guys either underperformed or got hurt again. But if the roster of defensive linemen that the Dolphins have stay healthy, they can get after the passer. And by the way, I think Chuck Robinson's going to be a dude, a stud.
He looked in the last half of last year that he's on his way to becoming that. And as it's pointed out in our chat room, similarities between Ross and Jarrah from an age standpoint. They're not thinking long-term, either of them. Probably why Greer has kept his job, because Ross doesn't want to start over again.
But I said it late last week before he officially made the trade request. If I'm the Chargers, I'll give up 3 ones for Micah Parsons right now. Next 3 drafts. Boom, boom, boom. I got no problem doing it either. I got to take down Mahomes and the Chiefs. I got to stay ahead of the Broncos. I'm in the same conference as Lamar, Allen, and Burrow. Are you serious? Okay, and I get it. Strong up front, run the football. I got to get the quarterback on his butt. That's how I'm going to win.
If you'd give up 3 for Micah, and I would too, for the record, I'm right there with you. What would you give up for Hendrickson in Cincinnati if you were the Chargers? Because he's not a good run defender. He's older, but there is no doubt he's an elite pass rusher, David. Would you give up 2 ones for Hendrickson right now?
I might. I'd try not to. I try to go a 1 and a 2. All right, something like that. But I might. I really might. Because he's a difference maker. He is. For this year and 2 more, Trey Hendrickson's a difference maker. He's a sack a game, man. You can count on one hand throughout the history of the sport, by the way, guys who have been a sack a game guy for multiple consecutive years. I got to beat Patrick Mahomes. They've won that division every year since the final year of the Obama administration. How long ago does that seem? I'm not playing around to take down the Chiefs here. I'm not hoping.
Well, and to me, David, you're exactly right in talking about the Chiefs. And then the other question that you'd have to look at the mirror and ask yourself, did we get passed in the offseason by the Denver Broncos?
Right.
I mean, I think they have.
I do too.
Because of the lack of weapons that you've pointed out, and they don't have a pass rush anymore. So there aren't any receivers there. There's not a lot of pass rushing there. And I know they want to try to run it a lot, but we'll see how that plays out in that division.
Shoeless Joe Sports Cafe is where your fantasy football draft should be. Free private rooms, Wi-Fi, plus food and drink specials. In August, Shoeless has bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays with your chance to win free wings and beer for a year. Fridays, live music on the deck. Saturdays, karaoke on the deck. Plus daily meal specials like Wednesdays, $6 wings and half-price pizza. Watch all your baseball and football at Shoeless Joe's, your home for good food, good times, and good sports in the Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floormeisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floormeisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dreamweaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floormeisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I did, Phil. David did too. We both were watching that.
Yeah. It was cool. You could tell on the tee, they didn't know at first whose ball got knocked in. But it was awesome. And the funny thing is there wasn't a shot remotely as close as either one on that hole. I watched for 2 hours leading up to that. There was no one within 10 feet on that hole.
So, David, that Meisner that made a birdie coming down the stretch to take Hubbard to T3 cost Hubbard the top 70, right?
I believe so.
Because Hubbard was in the top 70 when he was tied for second. He ended up like 74th. And he hit a great shot on 18. He was in the rough on the left side. It's a left pin. And you knew when he missed that putt, you could just, it's like, oh, man.
For as nauseating as the Ian Baker Finch goodbye was all weekend long, never mind last week, CBS's coverage of who was in and who was out of the FedEx was awesome yesterday. Awesome. But if you're Scott Van Pelt, would you leave ESPN to replace Baker Finch doing golf for CBS? Scott Van Pelt's 59 years old, by the way.
No, not in a million years. And I'm being serious. The golf is a lot of travel. You're in and out. He's got a family. Not a chance I would leave the job I have that I've created for myself in D.C., where I don't really have to travel, but for the Masters and a couple of other things, to be on the road every week? No way. No way. Unless, now there's one caveat, unless they're guaranteeing you Nance's job when he hangs him up.
Well,
but
here's-
Nance isn't going anywhere anytime.
Well, that's the problem is that when Nance says goodbye, you'll be 70. So you're not getting it. But you are getting a tower at Augusta.
I got you. They're not taking Faraday back. That bridge is burnt. It's done. That ain't happening. He works for Liv. He's not going to come back and work for the PGA Tour, Sonny. It would never happen. Oh, just saw that. Did you see the post cover? No. Sweeping with the fishes.
I love the Post. I'm sorry. I love the Post.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. 2 poll questions today. Yeah, off to a good start. So today's what? National Chocolate Chip Day? Chocolate Chip Cookie
National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day.
So, very complicated question. Soft or crispy? How do you like your cookies? And 2 to 1 or better, you guys want them soft. Okay. All right. I think Miller and Moulton both disagree with you, but that's okay. That's all right. And the sports poll question, all 3 games are week 1 of the college football season. So please don't submit, the game you want to see this year. We did it for a specific reason. They're all week 1. Which week 1 game would you like to see? And so it's LSU at Clemson, Texas at Ohio State, Notre Dame at Miami.
You and I both picked the same game for the same reason. Neither of us have ever been to Clemson.
Yep.
And I've been to the Shoe. I've been to Miami games, but I've never been to Clemson.
So that's why we.
And I was really struggling between that and Texas at Ohio State. And I know it's not Arch's first start, but it's Arch's team in the Shoe.
Sure.
2 teams that both have national title chances. And it's a monster game in determining a lot of things. This is simple as seeding by the end of the season.
Now, I got to tell you, if it was still at the Orange Bowl, I would have taken Notre Dame, Miami. And I know it was a dump, but it was their dump. And it was awesome. The OB was amazing.
Only went once. It was with you.
Yep.
The last time Florida State and Miami played at the OB. The game sucked.
It did.
It was a slog. It really was. Nothing really happened for much of the game, but it was a 1-possession game late.
It was.
And there was some there. That place has something to it.
And that place swayed. I'm telling you, I'm absolutely convinced of it. I was on the field and the ground felt like it was moving. I remember looking up at upper decks and thought, that thing's getting closer to me. What is going on? There was something about that dump. It was awesome. Loved it. And yeah, I know it's August 31st. It's going to be hot as blank. I don't care. It's like that bar. We've said it many times. Hey, you don't make fun of my bar. That's my dump. I can make fun of that bar. You
Don't
come
you
in
dare
here.
call it a dump.
Right. You come in here. I'm buying. The drinks are free. Shut up. This place is a Rolls Royce. All right. That was the OB, man.
Yeah, I couldn't vote Notre Dame Miami because I've been offered tickets to the game.
Right. And said
turned
no.
him down, and actually had dinner with that guy. He was a coworker of my wife. He started his own practice, and he and his wife and my wife and I, the four of us, had dinner Saturday. And they're talking a lot of shop, and I'm just sitting there bored. And finally, we start talking college football, and I can enjoy the rest of the night. And he finally looked at me and he goes, "You sure? You sure I can't talk you into it?" I said, "Oh man, it's too hot. Not doing it. I know it's at night. It's too hot."
I've got a rule. Okay. 15 plus years now. I got a rule, and I ain't breaking it. Not even for you, and not even for that game.
Ever since that, was it Tennessee, Florida in the swamp in the middle of September?
Yeah. Week 3 in September. He looked at me and said, "Don't even ask me. Never again."
I get it. They're great places to see. And I really need to see another game in the swamp in October or November.
Well, who was it? And I don't think it was on air. I think it was off air. And you asked me last week, coolest sports venue in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
And I said the swamp. Now, I will say I thought an interesting answer was Daytona Speedway. Okay. I thought that. I'm like, oh, okay, I could see that winning. But, been a doke for big games. Okay. If the Orange Bowl was still around, I'd vote OB. Okay. But, I ain't voting Joe Robbie Hard Rock, whatever that thing is. New Balance, or whatever. But yeah, I'll go swamp.
Because I'm doing the cocktail party this year, but that's not the swamp. And I've been to the cocktail party before. My son hasn't. He and I are meeting in Jacksonville. Good news is David will be out of town, so I don't have to bother seeing him.
I see him every day, 5 days a week, even if it's through video. What? It's not like Jake's dying to see him either. He knows how obnoxious he is. Okay. This weekend's going well. We don't need to ruin it with Moulton. But, oh well. Miller and Moulton kicking a few things around on this first Monday in August. Having a lot of fun, actually. Even though it was a slower sports weekend than I think to Mark and I, right before the show, when we did our minute 37 of show prep, we just kind of looked at one another, and Mark said, "This felt like the slowest sports weekend of the year."
It really did. And we talked about the baseball game at Bristol, the problems they had with the rain on Saturday, and then apparently the concessions were just a fiasco. They ran out of everything before the game started. You could see on Sunday many of the people that were going to attend on Saturday went home. They got their hotel rooms, or they were planning on driving back, or whatever the case may be, and did not come back on Sunday. In fact, Ryan Spader, who's been on the show a couple times, he was at the game, and he was putting posts up for people that were leaving of where they could turn their tickets in so that locals could go to the game, because there was a lot of empty seats for a game that was expected to have 91,000 people at it on Saturday night. I thought the best sporting event of the weekend was the Women's British Open.
I agree with you.
I mean, I will say, and I'm a Tigers fan, but that Tigers-Phillies game last night was fun. There were some great defensive plays. Ryan Green for the Tigers made 2 unbelievable plays in left field. The Phillies infield made a bunch of excellent plays down the stretch, with Tigers having runners in scoring position and holding them off from scoring. It was a pitcher's duel, and it was a good game. And Philly got 2 of 3. So a big weekend for the Phillies as they're trying to hold the Mets off in what's going to be a great division race. But you're right. I mean, the Marlins, great weekend, historic weekend. Most people ever at Lone Depot Park for a 3-game series. Most people ever. First time they've ever swept the New York Yankees. Now, I know it's interleague and they only get a couple of cracks at it each year, but they've never done it before.
And they are 30-14 in their last 44. Only one other Marlins team has ever had a stretch where they went 30-14. It was the 03 Marlins. We all know how that season ended. Miller and Moulton. Can I change gears on you here?
Absolutely.
I was talking to you about it during the break. We talk broadcasting more than most shows. If you're CBS, who are you replacing Ian Baker Finch with? And because remember, you get a tower at Augusta here. This isn't just, the St. Jude Classic here. You gotta put somebody in who can do the Masters and the PGA and not get bad press and not get the Masters to tap you on the shoulder and say he needs to leave and never come back. Because that's happened before with Gary McCord.
Funny listening to McCord in an interview that I caught. It might have been old, but I caught it over the weekend of McCord talking about trying to go as far as he could at Augusta.
Right.
And the director where he sat, there was somebody of prominence, head of CBS Sports was near him, and he would say things, and the guy was never paying any attention to what McCord would say, except if he crossed the line. And David, I don't know. Look, I love the broadcast talk. Don't get me wrong. You're far more into who the broadcaster is. I don't know if there's anybody out there from a golf standpoint that's going to do anything to make, because I think Immelman's awful. I don't think he adds much to the broadcast.
Right.
I can watch it without volume and be just as entertained. I don't think there are many personalities doing golf anymore. You had McCord, you had Faraday, you had Moulton be on NBC for years that had a bit of a personality. There were people who had personalities. They don't seem to want as much of that now. Don't get me wrong. Ian Baker Finch was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good at what he did. I don't think he was bad at what he did.
No.
There was nothing about after a broadcast I went, oh, man, was Ian Baker Finch so good that it wouldn't have been the same without him.
If you're Scott Van Pelt, you leave ESPN for that gig?
I wouldn't. I would not.
I would yesterday. And I know he's got a young family. I get it. It's 22 weeks versus 52 weeks.
Yeah. How many out of those 52 weeks, how many weeks does he actually work?
He works at least 45 of them. At least.
And of those 45, does he work 2 days, 3 days? I mean, he doesn't work nearly as much as he used to. He's not doing that Sports Center 5 nights a week. What's he doing? A couple, 3 times a week tops?
Well, he's scheduled to do it at least 4 nights a week. I mean, they got rid of the late Sports Center. They just made it him. They only do the 11 or midnight Sports Center if he's doing it Monday through Friday. And if they've got big events on a weekend or NBA Finals or something like that, then he works the Sunday show. He's 59 years old. His favorite sport is golf. He's made that abundantly clear. Now,
right. Was at the Golf Channel, obviously, before ESPN.
Right. Now, being at ESPN, he is their main anchor for the Masters and PGA coverage. They do Thursday, Friday. ESPN does the PGA, right? They have because they do Thursday, Friday, the Masters, and SVP anchors it. He's their Nance for Thursday and Friday. So he does that for the Masters and the PGA.
And he primarily works from home. I mean, he moved to the D.C. area, Maryland, where he's from, so he can raise his kids the same place. Basically, he grew up. Yep. He gets to do a show in D.C. there. Yes, he travels for the Masters. I know he travels for some NFL stuff here and there, but he doesn't have to do a lot of traveling. Golf's a grind.
No doubt.
You got to be there on Wednesday, bare minimum. It's 4 days. It's long days. That's work.
No, there's no doubt. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a grind because it is. But, I mean, Late Night Sports Center is the Late Night Sports Center. I mean, how exciting is it? Like, you don't think you've already done your best Late Night Sports Center? I mean, what's going to happen that you haven't done at 11 or midnight?
But he's gotten to the point with that when there's a big game, he gets the interview.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking to whomever.
Yes.
On that Sports Center, whether it's Ryan Day, whether it's the winner of the Masters, whomever it is, they're generally on that show.
Is there anybody on the Golf Channel or NBC that if you were calling the shots at CBS, you'd be like, you know what? I'll take him. Like, Steve Sands. Just somebody, anybody.
No, not to me.
Okay.
Not to me. And I'm trying to think of who's the tour player that's around 50 that you might, 45 to 50 that might do it.
Well, I know NBC's hired a couple of those guys here in the last couple of years. One of them's Kevin Kisner, who doesn't do anything for me either.
It was just someone that you've heard of.
But remember, the person you hire has to get Augusta to sign off on it. Don't think for a second that that's not part of the hiring process.
It's 100% right. That is 100% right.
Like CBS could promote from within. Andrew Catalan fills in for Nance. Catalan has the 14th hole at the Masters. Okay. He's a terrific broadcaster. He's their number 2 college basketball guy for the NCAA tournament. CBS's announcers are Ian Eagle and Andrew Catalan when they get down to the regionals. Okay. Just curious. The golf's somewhat interesting. Who's going to be on the Ryder Cup team and who's going to replace Finchy? I'm fascinated by. The golf,
Kevin Harlan, put him on golf. That would make it more interesting to me.
Gus Johnson.
Yeah,
wow.
How about Charles Barkley in the tower? I mean, you want to give me someone that moves the damn needle that I would be interested in.
That chip was terrible. Terrible.
In a shocking turn of events, David, we put the sports question up an hour after the chocolate chip question. More people have voted on the sports question.
What?
And that is, if you could only go to one game, week 1 of the college football season, which would you choose? Miller and Moulton.
It's time again for the Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit featuring Dr. Roto, Tuesday, August 12th, Shula Show Sports Cafe inside the Doubletree Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. Sign up at millerandmoulton.com. You get dinner and the expertise of one of the best fantasy players in the country, and Doc Roto will even give you a cheat sheet for your fantasy draft on your way out the door. Sign up at millerandmoulton.com. Tuesday, August 12th, is our Fantasy Football Summit. Dr. Roto and you. It's a fun night, and we help you win your fantasy football.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
This is Miller and Moulton. You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this first Monday in August. We hope you had a great weekend, and thanks for starting your week with us, Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. At MillerandMoulton.com, you can download whatever you miss on the show, and that's if you missed our interviews with Ryan O'Halloran, talking a little Bills and Jags, because he's, on the Buffalo News payroll for this week, and then he's on the Jacksonville Time Union payroll beginning next week. And Kye Sielaff, the TV voice of the Miami Marlins. That's the red-hot smoking Miami Marlins, who are 500, 6 back in the wild card race. And while I think it's a lot, Mark reminded me, same time last year, Tigers were like 9 back. So this is doable. Never mind if they continue to play at a 30-14 clip, which they've been playing at since mid-June.
Well, they do that, they're going to the playoffs. I mean, write it down now.
Listen, they do that, Mark. They'll catch the Mets for sure. I don't know about the Phillies, but they rattle off another 30-14 stretch. I don't know if the Amazons are making the playoffs if the Marlins continue.
No doubt. We ran out of time with Kyle because I could have kept going for a while. But the one thing I'm probably most curious about is how the Marlins deal with this, how their players do. Because when you're on that run and you're way below 500, it's easier.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, the interviews are going to be, well, do you think you can make the playoffs? What do you have to do to catch the Padres? Now, can they play as loose? Can they still have that same amount of fun going to the ballpark, or do they start putting pressure on themselves? And this is where their managers, to me, going to have to do a hell of a job from today going through. Yeah, you swept the Yanks. That's fantastic. You know what? You got the Astros coming in. They just lost 3 in a row. They're honked off. Their lead over Seattle's 2.5 right now?
2.5. The Astros have been reeling for a month. July was very tough on them. A whole bunch of injuries. Guys are close to coming back. They're not really back yet. They went to Boston, though, and they got shellacked. I mean, it's interesting. Teams that were very aggressive at the deadline. Yankees take 3 out of 4 from the Rays. Aggressive at the deadline, get swept. Astros showing signs of getting out of their funk. Aggressive at the deadline, go to Boston, get swept. Boston, who did virtually nothing at the deadline, just keeps on winning. They're in second place now, 3 back of the Jays. Their fans were screaming at them all week last week. Our front office sucks. We didn't do anything. They just keep winning. Mets were aggressive at the deadline, lost 2 or 3 at home to the Giants.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I think Texas took 2 or 3 from Seattle, too, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Seattle took 3 or 4.
Seattle took 2 or 3, or 3 or 4.
Yeah. And Seattle was aggressive at the
very
deadline.
Aggressive.
That's the one team, who their moves paid off this weekend, Mark. Like the game they won yesterday, a 5-4 game. Seattle, that wasn't scoring 5 runs a game 4 days ago. The other thing that happened, by the way, and we've talked about this with other teams, and I'm not going off on a Mariners rant here because there's 2 of you who care. Okay, but this is a lot of teams in a lot of different sports. Mark, the Mariners get pretty good fan support. But when they were as aggressive as they were leading into that Texas series, they did over 40,000 every game for that. The fans and the fan base was like, thank you. We've been asking you to do this for 3 years. Finally, you went out and got what we needed. Okay, we will now give you our money. We will not stay home and watch. We will come to the ballpark and watch this.
All right. On that note, 17,500 over under for Marlins Astros tonight.
Oh, man, it's a Monday night.
I know. Alcantara's on the mound. You heard Kye Sielaff when we had him on. He said, man, if you're listening, you're within a shout of my voice. Come to the ballpark. Cheer this guy on. He didn't get traded.
Under. I think 12, 5, 13's the number. Okay, because I know they did 35,000 or thereabouts, 34,000
It was
for every
the
game.
Yankees.
Right, half the crowd was Yankees, though. So there was only 17,000 Marlins fans at every one of those games. Are all of them showing up tonight for the Astros? No.
And I don't even think there were 17,000 Marlins fans, if you know what I mean. I'm not saying the crowds weren't 50-50. But what I'm saying is I'm saying there was 12 to 15,000 Marlins fans, 12 to 15,000 Yankees fans, and then the rest were baseball fans that went, ooh, there are, I remember when I went to see the Marlins and the Yankees in the World Series, I didn't have a dog in the fight. One, it was a World Series game that I got tickets to, so I was excited to go. But two, it was the Yankees.
Right.
And I don't even like the Yankees. But the Yankees mean something when you go to a game. The Astros don't.
No.
No, I'm not a Rays fan. They were hosting the Dodgers. If it wasn't for the 600-degree temperatures, it would have been fun to go see the Rays and the Dodgers this weekend, to see Ohtani.
If they allowed you and I to bring a garbage can, would we go to the game tonight?
Yes.
That's 8 years ago now.
I know. And Sonnet, it's funny you bring that up. I did see an interesting article that kind of talked about the Astros have really taken the mantle of the team in the black hat, if you will. That ever since that point, they're easily the most hated team in baseball. And I know the Yanks and Dodgers are probably, the Yanks especially, because people have an opinion one way or another. But I don't like the Yankees. I don't really dislike the Yankees. I'd go see them because especially when Judge in the lineup, just to watch him bat 4 or 5 times. But people really don't like the Astros still.
No.
There's no middle ground. You're either if you're a baseball person, you're either an Astros fan or the odds are you don't like them. And it's tough to take that hat away from the Red Sox or the Yankees or the Dodgers or the teams that we always think about that are easy to dislike. The Astros, and even over the weekend in Boston, the crap that they took for the intentional balk to move a player from second to third because they thought they were stealing signs. The Astros.
Right. Oh, no, the irony was rich. The irony was rich. Have you ever booed somebody? And I mean it. Have you ever stood up and booed someone at a game? Because I never have.
Booed? No. Yelled at players from other teams? Yes.
So like heckled.
I heckled.
Okay.
It was after a Blackhawks-Red Wings game. I was seated very close to the Blackhawks bench, good seats.
Right.
And I did not like Chris Chelios at all.
Who ironically would basically finish his career helping the Wings win a cup.
And I have to be honest, the first year he was there, I was not happy about it.
Right.
And I remember giving it to him. And I thought he noticed and was looking at me because it was after the game. People had left. And I'm 21, 22 years old. So I'm in vintage form here. I've had a couple of drinks.
Sure.
And I'm going. And I remember him kind of staring my way. And I thought, wow, he actually heard me. And then having spent all those years working in minor league hockey and hearing the players get on the bus after the game talk about good heckling, I'm pretty sure he did hear me. And then whether it was on the bus in the locker room, you should have heard this guy give it to me. He had a couple of good lines there.
I asked.
Players find it funny.
They do. They do. And sometimes they're just looking in the crowd to check out the scenery. So somebody attractive may have been standing near you. But I asked because Altuve gets booed pretty loudly everywhere he goes. Now, he's the most recognizable player on the Astros. He's not their best player anymore, but he was for a long time, and he could very well end up being a Hall of Famer. But Altuve gets pretty vociferously booed on the road. And I think that all goes back to the walk-off homer against Chapman when we found out later on that the Astros were cheating. And remember, there was an accusation that when it gets really loud, that banging the garbage can didn't work. So they had stuff attached to their chest. Okay. And that's how they would tell you what pitch was coming. One tap was a fastball, multiple taps was off speed. And remember, Altuve's rounding third, and they're about to rip the jersey off him. And he's saying to the guys, don't touch me, don't touch me. He still, all these years later, is booed really loudly on the road. People think he's a cheater. Like worse. I don't know if we booed the steroid guys the way that we boo.
Well, no, because one, we knew but didn't know, if you know what I mean, while it was going on.
Plus, also, we were afraid who was doing it on our own teams.
Exactly.
Be honest. For what it's worth, this is the last 3 home games for damn near 2 weeks for the Marlins. The Marlins go on an 11-game road trip after this. 5 in Atlanta, including a makeup doubleheader on Saturday. Then they go to Cleveland for 3 and Boston for 3.
Both Cleveland and Cleveland thinks they're in it.
They took 2 or 3 over the weekend. They're a game above 500. They're what, 3 out?
3 out of the wild card, 3 behind the Mariners, 3.5 behind the Yankees. And I know you always talk about how many teams you have to climb, but when you have, the Red Sox are, 2 games ahead of the Mariners, but you don't have to do much once you're in to go from 6 to 4, if you know what I mean, David. So the Guardians think they're in it. The Red Sox are most certainly in it. They're the 4 seed this morning.
So Marlins 3 at home for the Astros, then 11-game road trip, 5 in Atlanta, 3 in Cleveland, 3 in Boston. Does this continue? In their next 14 games, over under 6.5 wins.
I'll go over, but let me ask you, is 7-7 good enough on that stretch?
That's why I made it over under 6.5. I would argue no, because here's what I'm thinking. I got to win the Astros series and I got to win the Braves series. Even if it's 2-1 and 3-2, that makes me 5-3 going to Cleveland and Boston. Even if I lose both those series, but I take a game in each, that's 7. So
they've got 52 games left. They've got to win
32 of them. Minimum.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's 87.
Yeah, and that won't be enough. That's the thing. As great as this has been, they basically have to win 2 out of every 3 the rest of the way.
Miller and Moulton. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floormeisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floormeisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floormeisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today. for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
This is Miller and Moulton.
By the way, I know it's way too early to talk about this, but because John Rothstein reposts everything 47 times, his top 10, Florida 4, but St. John's 3. I mean,
Wow.
yeah.
Behind-
Purdue 1, Houston 2, St. John's, Florida, Michigan, UConn, UCLA, BYU, Duke, Texas Tech. But if St. John's is a top 5 team,
I will say there's a lot of people that think they had a great offseason, that there's not much that they're missing. I'll say this. If you ever have a chance to go see a big basketball game, pro or college, at Madison Square Garden, go. It is, for lack of a better word, cool. It is a great acoustic arena for concerts, for big games, for big events. That arena sounds good. God, Sonny, it'd be so great if he could beat Louisville along the way. If he could be in a region with Louisville and Kentucky and beat them both and go to the Final Four, I swear, I'd give a lot of money to see that happen. He'd be magnanimous about Kentucky. He would not be magnanimous about Louisville.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Week tomorrow's our fantasy football summit. A week from tomorrow. Shoeless Joe Sports Cafe, although to be honest, we're probably going to have to move it down the hall into a bigger room, but it's just to tell you where to go. Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. Dinner starts at 6. The event starts at 7. Dinner, Dr. Roto, Miller and Moulton, and you, and a boatload of football talk. Bring a notepad and a pen. Seriously. It'll be worth it. You'll crush your fantasy draft, and you'll finish high up in your fantasy league.
Sign up, millerandmoulton.com. It's pinned to my X page. It's on our Facebook page as well. The Fantasy Football Summit a week from tomorrow night. You and I are both big fans of going to concerts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, have you been to a concert where the headliner has brought out somebody to do a song with them that you didn't expect? Now, I've been lucky enough twice, and I was a big fan of the group REM. When I've seen them in concert, Michael Stipe did a song with Indigo Girls where he sang backup on one of their songs. He came out and did that. I think he and Natalie Merchant did a song together when 10,000 Maniacs opened for them when I saw it. But other than that, I don't recall, and I've been to hundreds of concerts where the artist has brought out somebody to do a song, and you're like, holy crap, so-and-so's here. Have you ever been lucky enough to see that?
Bruce does it. I would say probably every third time I've seen Bruce, in which all of a sudden he'll bring somebody out and they'll do. What amazes me is that the guy will give up his night to do a song.
Who was the best that you saw Springsteen bring up then? Because I know he does bring up a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of the videos, but who was it that he brought up, if you can recall?
There was a show at the Garden in which he brought out Sting.
There you go. So that would be amazing.
Right.
Amazing. Because, my daughter's into pop music, and it drives me nuts. But, she loves Taylor Swift. And I've always asked her who her second favorite singer is. And it's Olivia Rodrigo. And very talented. But this Olivia Rodrigo is turning into one of my new favorites because she played a festival in England. She brought out Robert Smith from The Cure, and she did 2 Cure songs with him. This is a today artist,
right,
doing alt rock from the 90s. I mean, that's a pretty big stretch. She also brought out David Byrne in June and she did a Talking Head song with him in New York.
Damn.
Pretty flippin' cool.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, she played the Lollapalooza in Chicago, and she was a big Weezer fan. She brought out Weezer, did 2 songs with them. I'm like, you're tapping into a whole new crowd when you start doing that. You're escaping the pop genre, if you will.
Right.
And like Miley Cyrus has done, she sits in and does all kinds of rock songs, and when she does them, she's really good.
Yeah, she is.
She's really good. And obviously that whole Ozzy tribute concert, all of those bands doing Sabbath songs, was extremely cool. And the Dead and Company played Golden Gate Park over the weekend. I mean, massive crowds, unbelievable crowds. And it's not really the Grateful Dead. I mean, it's not even close. Jerry's dead. And John Mayer's done a great job filling in. And Bob's old, so it doesn't sound as good. But Billy Strings, who's probably the best guitarist on the planet, opened on Friday. He did a couple songs with them. Sturgill Simpson opened on Saturday. He did a song with them. And whoever did the Sunday opening act did some songs with them, which you would expect when it's the opening act. But when I see all these things, like, Bruce has brought up Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam to do songs.
Right.
And those things, you're right. That's so cool to me because they're basically giving up their night to come perform a song. And It's just one of those things that I've never seen, and more of it's happening now. And I'm impressed as hell with pop singers who don't really need more. I mean, these people are killing it in their genre.
Right.
To then jump genres and do songs. And then Sabrina Carpenter's a very pretty young lady who's big on the pop scene right now. She did Lollapalooza last night, brought out Earth, Wind, and Fire, and did 2 Earth, Wind, and Fire tunes.
Cool.
I mean, this is a 70s R&B band that she's doing stuff with. So
Right.
I just think that stuff's very cool. Very cool. There wasn't a lot of sports this weekend. I was perusing my music genes over the weekend as well, David.
Well, this goes back to the middle of last week. And obviously we spent our time talking about, Ozzy's passing and, which Ozzy do you like best and all that. I don't think we talked about this though, because it didn't get immediate publicity. And I don't know if it was out while we were on the air last week. I know I didn't see or hear about it until like Friday afternoon. But very quietly, with no publicity, did you hear what the changing of the guard ceremony
I did.
at Buckingham Palace last Wednesday? They did not publicize it. They took it upon themselves. This was their tribute to Ozzy as they were changing the guard in the afternoon in front of Buckingham Palace. The band that they have, the Coldstream Guards, changed the guard to Black Sabbath's Paranoid. The reaction that I saw on social media, Brits, literally writing, this is the proudest I've been of my country in years. Okay. Things along those lines. First off, the outpouring for him was
they were like 10 deep for the funeral procession through Birmingham, England. It was incredible.
It was like someone from the royal family.
Yes.
Prominent in the royal family had passed. Yes.
Someone they liked.
Right. That's true. We have to clarify the difference between prominent and popular. Good point, Mark. Good point. But anyway, I saw that and I saw the reaction to it. All right. And I'm like, wow. Just the power that, we talk about all the time on this show. The power of sport, the power of music. All right, the power that it can have and bringing people together, and I just thought that was awesome. And let me tell you, I want to know who the cool person is associated with the changing of the guard who suggested it.
I want to know who okayed it.
You're right, but
I get the suggestion.
Good point.
Come on. Can you think of a more stuffy procession
right
is anywhere than the changing of the guard?
At Buckingham Palace?
Right.
No, it's top 3.
That and whoever's guarding the tomb of the unknown soldier. Come on. There's a short list of things that are that pomp and circumstance, if you will.
Right. What's the thing with the 2 guards they have over there and you're trying to get one of them to move? Right. Black Sabbath's Paranoid. I want to know how long they had to practice it. Okay. Guys, we're going to roll this out tomorrow. Oh, what is it? God Save the Queen? No, Paranoid by Sabbath. What?
Hell, they were probably so excited to play a new tune that took them 15 minutes, David.
They stayed up all night. Are you kidding me? Had an all-nighter. They're like, this is awesome, man.
Absolutely. So just a couple of the things that I was checking out over the weekend, because as we said, it was maybe the lightest sports weekend we've had in a while. Miller and Moulton, football training camps in full swing, but not a lot going on last weekend.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floormeisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floormeisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floormeisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Probably the last time I saw Mellencamp, I was very disappointed. It was 2 years ago here in Jacksonville. Saw him in a theater. It was a great setting for a concert. He didn't want to play a good chunk of his good stuff. It's a very slow down concert. It's kind of like, reminded me of like when Bruce was touring Off the Rising. Oh boy. Got a bunch of toe tappers here.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour till we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Miller and Moulton broadcasting from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, just keeping it real. David Sampson, by the way, will not be on the show tomorrow. Normally he joins us on Tuesdays. He's got a gig. He's got his own gig, and then he's doing the Le Batard show, and he's hosting, and that begins at 9 a.m. So no David Sampson tomorrow. It's a bummer, too, because he was at the Marlins game yesterday for Jack McKeon going into the Marlins Hall of Fame. And so he was there and took that in. But no David Sampson tomorrow. Phil Steele on Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern for a half an hour. Pat Kerwin Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern for a half an hour here on Miller and Moulton.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Today Was the Day When is brought to you by Game Day Men's Health. Online, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Pretty easy. And call them at 239-427-3441. Locations in Naples and Bonita Springs. Mention Miller and Moulton. Get 10% off your services at Game Day Men's Health. Proud sponsor of Miller and Moulton. Today in 1753, 21-year-old George Washington becomes a master mason. 1914, big day in World War I. Germany declares war on Belgium, Britain declares war on Germany, and U.S. President Woodrow Wilson issues his proclamation of neutrality to keep the U.S. out of the war in Europe. Jesse Owens showed up Hitler for the second time today at the Berlin Olympics in 1936. He would win his second gold medal, winning the long jump, defeating German Lutz Long, and an Olympic record at that. Anne Frank was arrested in Amsterdam by German security police today in 1954. The Hot 100 by Billboard was published for the first time today in 1958. Ricky Nelson's Poor Little Fool was number 1. Carl Lewis would win his first of 9 gold medals over 3 games today in 1984, winning the 100-meter in 9.9 seconds in L.A. Also today in 84, this guy named Prince would go to number 1 on the album chart with Purple Rain. It would stay there for 24 weeks. 3 pretty big sports things. 3 good sports footnotes today in 85. Scott Verplank beats Jim Thorpe in a playoff at the Western Open to become the first amateur to win a PGA Tour event since Gene Littler did it in 1954. The other two are baseball milestones. Rod Carew would hit a single off of Frank Viola to collect his 3,000th hit. Carew with the Angels did it against the Twins. And Tom Seaver would become the 17th pitcher to win 300 games, defeating the Yankees at Yankee Stadium while he was with the White Sox.
It was on Phil Rizzuto Day, and Seaver threw a complete game.
1986, USFL owners vote to suspend operations for the 86 season and fold before the fourth season after winning token damages in the antitrust lawsuit against the NFL. By token damages, they won $1 3 times. 1992, pretty much just for me. I saw this today and added it. The Gin Blossoms released New Miserable Experience. It was full of hits, like 5 or 6 of them. Tony Gwynn, today in 93, gets 6 hits in an 11-10 win over the Giants. It would be the 4th time of the season that Gwynn had 5 or more hits in a game.
You and I have been stumbling upon Tony Gwynn's stats for the last year. I don't know if it's Super 70 Sports or someone out there that is really big on Tony Gwynn's stats. You know, how many times he struck out facing Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox, all right, in like 50-something at-bats. Okay, things of that nature. I saw one today. If Tony Gwynn had gone hitless in his last 1,199 at-bats,
right. If he had that many more at-bats and did not get a hit in any of them,
he'd still be a 300 career hitter.
Right. Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, premiered today in 2006. Speaking of which, did you see the Reds catcher?
Yes!
Wearing the Ricky Bobby catcher.
Yes!
Gear. Phenomenal.
I love the Braves hats. Love the Reds catcher.
The numbers were all NASCAR-style numbers.
Yes.
Hey, they set it up well. They blew it on Saturday night. I'm not joking. It was a joke what they did to the fans there.
Well, we have to find out, was this Major League Baseball's doing, or somehow did the Motor Speedway, like who was in charge of concessions?
And how do you run out before the first pitch?
And also, you're used to bigger crowds than that for a race.
Exactly. All right, a bunch of stats that you're not going to be happy about. Today in 2007, 32-year-old Alex Rodriguez becomes the youngest to hit 500 home runs. Also that same day, Bonds would hit a home run in the second inning to tie Hank Aaron's record at 755. 2010, A-Rod, on the 3rd anniversary of hitting 500, hits his 600th. Today in 2012, Serena wins gold in the Olympics, and Michael Phelps wins his 18th gold in the 4x100 relay. Louis Vuitton, Queen Elizabeth, Louis Armstrong, and Maurice Richard would have all celebrated birthdays today. John Riggins is 76. Bob Baumhauer and Billy Bob Thornton are each 70. Jerry Cooney, who lost fighting for the title 5 times, is 69. Mary Decker is 67. Barack Obama, 64. Roger Clement, 63. Jeff Gordon, 54. And David Meghan Markle is 44 years old today. What did I miss?
You mentioned Serena in the London Games of 2012 today. At the time, remember how fascinated we were with Oscar Pistorius?
Yes.
He competed in the Olympics today. Not the Special Olympics, okay? No, he competed in the Olympics, and he actually finished second in his heat and advanced to the next round, where ultimately in the semifinals he did not advance. But, you know, we didn't know at the time he was going to kill his girlfriend. You know, I mean, that really would have dampened that whole storyline, you know.
It dampens it now.
Yeah.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly What you got, Mark?
Give it up for Beards and Brews Barbershop in Bonita Springs, because yesterday they hosted their 7th annual backpack drive, offering kids free haircuts and free backpacks to start the school year. Good for them. Great job by a local business. For the bad, we go to Pennsylvania, where a truckload of hot dogs spilled across the interstate after a crash clogged the heavily traveled artery in both directions. Crews had to pick up the dogs on I-83 a few miles north of the Maryland line as morning rush hour was wrapping up. A couple of people were injured. The police said the injuries were not life-threatening.
Do you see what you did there, or did you do it on purpose? Okay, you talked about the roadway and the closed artery in both directions.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Well done.
Thank you.
That's really well done.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Finally, the ugly. We go to Miami. And, you know what they say about karma.
It's
You got it. Eduardo Gonzalez was stopped in his Dodge Charger after police witnessed what appeared to be a hand-to-hand drug transaction. They pulled over, moved in, and told him he wasn't free to leave. Gonzalez exchanged a few words with the officer, then laughed and said, "Ha ha, psych," and took off. He made it 2 blocks before he crashed into a semi-truck that had another police officer right behind it. He attempted to flee on foot after the crash, but was unable to do so due to a leg injury and was quickly apprehended. And that, David, is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, August the 4th, here on Miller and Moulton. Psych.
Listen, there's no preseason football till Thursday, I believe. So it's just Major League Baseball and WNBA. I think if you're really into tennis, the Canadian Open is still going on. It's a 2-week hardcourt event, and they're only halfway through it. But otherwise, it's baseball and WNBA. And with no Caitlin Clark, most of you who were starting to get into the WNBA are not interested anymore. Marlins at 6:40, baby. Taking on the first place Astros. By the way, I think the Astros, help me out here, do they have the same record as the Padres? I know they're in different leagues, but it gives you an idea. The Marlins are playing the Astros.
Yes, they have the exact same record, David.
Well, and the Marlins, right now, the Padres are the 6th seed. They're only 3 behind the Dodgers for the division lead, but they're the last wild card in the National League. So this is the kind of team that the Marlins are going to have to chase down. They have 52 games left. I'll give you this. They win 2 out of every 3 the rest of the way for 51 games. That's 34-17. They'd have 89 wins going into the season finale. Do you think it'd be enough?
It's right there, David. It really is. I will say, and your point about the National League is well taken, but remember, the Yanks and the Mariners that are holding the 5 and 6 spots have 60 wins. I mean, it's really close in both leagues from 1 to 6. I guess is the only point I'm making there.
Yep. Rays are in Los Angeles to take on the Angels. So they just hosted the Dodgers for a bunch. Now they go to Los Angeles to play the Angels. There are
a handful of interesting series in the early part of the week. That Astros-Marlins series is very interesting. The Royals and Red Sox. The Royals still believe they're in it. Can the Red Sox keep on keeping on? They're hot as all get up. Your Mets taking on the Guardians, who think they're still in it. An interesting series. And the Yankees and Rangers. Yankees are reeling.
Texas 2 behind Seattle, but only 2.5 behind the Yankees for a playoff spot right now. By the way, our Reds, Mark, they just lost 2 out of 3 to the Braves. Well, they better step up because they're in the north side taking on the Cubs.
Yeah, it's getting late early for the Reds because they let that series get away with the Braves. There's no doubt, because that was one they needed to win.
I believe they're 4 back of the Padres. That's the one good thing for the Marlins, and you brought it up earlier. The Tigers, who had a worse record at this point last season and came all the way back and made the playoffs, but not only did they have to make up more games than the Marlins have to make up now, but the Tigers had to leapfrog like 6 teams. The Marlins have to leapfrog 2. There's only 7 teams with a winning record in the National League. The Marlins at 500 are the 8th seed. They got to leapfrog the Reds and right now the Padres.
By the way, in a series no one cares about unless you're from Pittsburgh or San Francisco, Giants at the Padres, Verlander 1-8 on the hill against a guy who I don't believe has pitched all year. He's 0-0. The Giants are favored. Do you take a flyer on the Pirates today at home against Verlander, who can't beat anybody?
No. Boy, this would be the ultimate. Justin, it may be time to hang it up like today. Like not in 2 months, but like today.
So just saying, that just kind of interesting out there.
He's 1-8 with a 4.93 ERA. I mean, he's going to the Hall of Fame. There's no doubt about that, but stayed a year too long.
He did.
Yep.
He did, and he went to a place you would think the good pitcher's ballpark. If there was ever a place to go to where you could have moderate success, you would think San Francisco would have been that place, but not to be for Justin Verlander. Miller and Moulton. Miss any of the show? millerandmoulton.com to download what you missed. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning. Thanks so much for listening.
It's time again for the Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit featuring Dr. Roto, Tuesday, August 12th, Shula Show Sports Cafe inside the Doubletree Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. Sign up at millerandmoulton.com. You get dinner and the expertise of one of the best fantasy players in the country, and Doc Roto will even give you a cheat sheet for your fantasy draft on your way out the door. Sign up at millerandmoulton.com. Tuesday, August 12th, is our Fantasy Football Summit. Dr. Roto and you. It's a fun night, and we help you win your fantasy football league.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Ream Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe is where your fantasy football draft should be. Free private rooms, Wi-Fi, plus food and drink specials. In August, Shoeless has bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays with your chance to win free wings and beer for a year. Fridays, live music on the deck. Saturdays, karaoke on the deck. Plus daily meal specials like Wednesdays, $6 wings and half-price pizza. Watch all your baseball and football at Shoeless Joe's, your home for good food, good times, and good sports in the Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
This is Miller and Moulton